Tick-tock, time to rock. And shalom. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here and your friendly neighborhood Apostate Prophet. How you doing?
Good. Shalom. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, shalom.
Good. Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Hey.
Yes. What? Yeah.
So I did one of these videos while we're, oh, by the way, hi everyone. I saw a lot of you last night and so on, but we haven't been, especially since we had a trip, we weren't doing tons of live streams like we normally do and so on. So we understand that these past couple of weeks without us constantly live streaming, it's probably been the most depressing times of some of your lives. What is there to do without your friendly family that meets here night after night after night, talking about the most important issues of our time? What?
It might have been a well-needed vacation or something like that for everyone.
Like people need a break from you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Hey, AP.
Yes.
So we were out in Israel.
Yes.
And I went over to the Mount of Olives.
Yes.
Rebecca was taking me around to various places. Awesome. She speaks Hebrew. And we were looking for a spot on the Mount of Olives to record the Temple Mount in the background. And the place that I remembered from when I was there the first time, I went there and there was a woman praying there. There's a part of me that's annoyed because that's a spot I wanted. There's another part that thought it was kind of cool because it's like she's at the spot that's overlooking that's overlooking Jerusalem, and she's clearly like praying for the city, overlooking it and stuff. But I was on time was short and I had to record, so I had to go up higher and stuff, and we were getting higher and higher up the Mount of Olives and not finding a good spot. But the more you get up the Mount of Olives, the smaller everything is going to be in the background. So it was getting really annoying. Anyway, we got to a part where there's kind of a wall, and I stood on a bench that's like, I don't know, a bus stop or something like that. But this is a bench there, and I stood up on the bench and leaned over the wall with the place in the background. Anyway, I recorded a little video making a very simple point. Now, and I did one of my classic things where I give the Muslims an easy out just to see how they're going to respond. Easy out. So in the video, I'm sitting there going, hey, here are all the places that the Quran mentions the children of Israel. And where does the Quran mention the children of Palestine? Doesn't. So the multiple easy responses to that point. But what am I trying to respond to here? AP, have you actually heard the absurd notion that
Yes, I have.
If you go back a couple of decades, the claim was, hey, these Palestinians, they've been on that land for a while, and then the Jews came and pushed them off, and so you had to have that discussion. Then it changed to like people on Twitter, like Jews were never there. Period. It was always Palestinians, and Jews didn't show up until the 20th century, which is absolutely insane. So I'm responding to that absolutely insane claim in a simple fashion. Namely, the Quran talks over and over and over again about the children of Israel, and even about Allah ordering the children of Israel to take the Holy Land. Never once mentions any Palestinians. And I gave them two options. I said, you can say that the Canaanites were the Palestinians. You can make that claim, or you could say the Palestinians came along later. Either way. So notice, if you say that the Palestinians were the Canaanites, then Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer them. Or you could say they came later, in which case, stop this stupid claim. But no matter what the case is, the Quran talks about the children of Israel in the land. So if you're some idiot on Twitter saying, oh, they were never there until the 20th century, then you're kind of a moron.
Yeah. That's
very simple point.
Pretty strange.
Very, very simple point. So I made that video.
Don't you think it's very impressive, though, that I can stay still like this forever? You see that?
Yeah, is that deliberate, or is that because you're rendering a video?
Yeah, I just tried rendering the video and then everything froze, and then I aborted it. But now I can't fix the camera, but it'll be right back. Meanwhile, it just looks like I'm fantastic at this.
You're going to cut out? Yeah, I'm going to save that picture for thumbnails. Look really intense, like you're staring at something. All right, what are you doing? You cutting out and coming back in?
Probably, yeah. I'll be right back.
All right, we'll do it.
Okay.
Finally, we can speak intelligently without the atheist around. What is up with these donkey-brained atheists? They can't figure out how the universe works. They can't figure out life. They can't figure out meaning. And then they can't even figure out how computers work over and over and over again. My goodness. So, as I was pointing out, as we wait for Apostate Prophet to figure out how a computer works, a guy who literally spends his life working on a computer can't figure out how it works. As we're waiting for him to come back. So I made this video. Very, very simple point. And Muslims, if I ever make a very simple point and I offer you some very simple responses, you need to be trying to figure out where I'm going with this, because I'm usually going somewhere with this. And in this case, I'm thinking of this whole situation in a much deeper sense. Like when you look at the conflict and we go through the passages about Muhammad telling his followers that the end won't come until they slaughter Jews and things like that. We look at that and its relevance to the conflict. But I kind of like going even back further than that, which is for a decade, Muhammad is preaching in Mecca, and you don't have the Jewish tribes there. Muhammad's preaching in Mecca, and he's preaching, the Jews will know me when they see me. The Jews are going to know me. The Jews are going to admit that I'm a true prophet. The Jews will recognize me from the descriptions of me in the Torah. And he spends 10 years. He spends 10 years telling them that. And then they actually move to Medina, where you have 3 Jewish tribes. Muhammad, the whole way, guys, wait till these Jews see me. These Jews are going to say, yep, that's our prophet. The Jews are going to affirm me as a true prophet. He really boosts them up as authorities in matters of religion, and as authorities in the Torah and in the description of him in the Torah. And so he does that for 10 years. And then they move to Medina. Yeah, and the Jews basically are ready to laugh him out of the city, claiming to be a prophet. So that's what that rejection and Muhammad's psychological problems with his attachment issues, which go back to his childhood. He couldn't stand rejection. That's why, you beat your wife into submission. That's why no one can leave Islam. You have to chop his head off. This guy's obsessed with controlling everything and not allowing anyone to ever abandon him. And so he views the Jews as horrible, horrible people for rejecting him. But think about this, because this leads to all the problems. Muhammad had claimed that he's very clearly mentioned in the Torah. We're still waiting on that. Muslims still keep coming, but Song of Solomon, which isn't even the Torah, but Song of Solomon 5:16. It's like the dumbest stuff we've ever seen in our lives. We're still waiting for these clear references. But Muhammad's followers at that time, they don't know anything about what's in the Torah. They're completely ignorant. They just know, it's this book that the Jews have, and it talks about Muhammad. And so the Jews will confirm it when we get to them. They get there, and the Jews laugh him, are ready to laugh him out of the city. What do you have to say at that point? If he is clearly referred to in the Torah, if he's clearly there, it's indisputable, as he was claiming, and the Jews reject him, what's that mean? It means they know it. They know he's a true prophet, and they're rejecting him, in which case they're just evil, and they're trying to lead people away, and they have to be subjugated and eventually exterminated, according to Muhammad. That's how we get to the situation that we're in right now. Got all that?
Powerful stuff. I didn't hear all of it, but I listened to it in my heart, and I'm listening to my heart.
Yep. And so I see that when I'm trying to look at kind of deeper issues here, you have some of these claims that that are just trying to rewrite history and so on, and you're looking for why is this going on? And one of the real issues, AP, one of the real issues that is being pretty much overlooked is, and I was trying to guide these guys. I haven't looked at how most of the other Muslims responded. We're going to look at how Saif Talk responded. He said some of the things that I expected. He missed the obvious one. I have to look at other Muslim responses to see how they responded. But I made it very easy. I put a ton of Quran references up on the screen. Children of Israel. The Quran talks over and over and over again about the children of Israel. Put those on the screen. They respond. The main response I was expecting, besides the, but children of Israel doesn't mean that Israel and Palestine are places, because children, we'll get to that. I was expecting, but the Quran says that Allah eventually got fed up with the children of Israel and then punished them. That's what I was expecting, right? In which case, that doesn't refute the point, because the point is, yeah, but they were there, right? So you're not there first. Give up that stupid claim. But here's where I wanted to go with it, and here's where I eventually go. And I'm going ahead and saying where I'm going with this now, and then you'll see over the next 6 months or so, everyone, how I actually do it. The real issue with the obsession with Israel is that if Allah has said the Jews rebelled and broke their covenant, and so Allah punished them, then he gave them a second chance, returned them to the land, and they did the same thing. And then so he punished them again and expelled them from the land. And that's the punishment. And so this is just the final punishment for them. They're done. And then they show up and take over the land. It's kind of like Allah got overpowered, right? It's kind of, it kind of seems like that. And what do you do you think that, like, they're like, AP, as far as what's going on psychologically, it's like, if you're a Muslim, hey, we're supposed to expand and expand and expand and expand and expand and take over the entire world. And meanwhile, Christians are way more powerful than us. Jews are way more powerful than us. Atheists are everyone's way more powerful than us and way better at making countries. This is not how things are supposed to be. And the idea that Jews are just going to be able to come back and have a country again, right in the middle of us, right in the middle of 49 Muslim countries, there's nothing we can do about it. It's like Israel showed up and just slapped Allah in the face and said, "Shut up," right?
There is that whole thing. So growing up as a Muslim, with politics, you're surrounded with politics, especially with the topic of Jews and of Israel. It is very normal to learn that these Jews, they're the bad guys. They're eternally condemned. Well, they are our enemies. They don't want anything good. You can't trust them, and this and that. With the whole Israel situation going on right now, the whole Israel-Palestine issue to Muslims is very much a religious issue. They make it look like in the West, when we talk about it, like, no, it has nothing to do with religion. It's about rights and human rights and land and this and that. No, it's about religion. It is about religion, and Muslims are very passionate about this whole topic, about how Muslims are the rightful ones, and every Muslim is supposed to support the Palestinians because of that, especially since they are fighting the worst guys ever, which are the Jews. It is often brought up as a question, like, if we are the good ones, and if Allah is with us, and if those people are just evil, just messed up, how is it happening? Why is it happening that they're just totally dominating right now, and our guys stand no chance at all? And then the response is usually, Allah gives this world to the disbelievers and the afterlife to the believers. He's just testing them right now, but he's going to reward the believers in the afterlife, and so on. All of these wishful thinking things that you could tell your children, but in this case, you just tell it a lot of other people who are culturally children on a certain level. So, but they have to somehow accept it. They have to somehow accept the fact that the Jews are not subjects anymore, are not our obedient subjects anymore, that we can put them in their place if whenever they misbehave. No, they are now independent people who possess the land that was supposed to be taken by the Muslims and kept, because that's what Muhammad also said, according to the hadith. He promised that the Muslims will go and fight and take the land, and all of that. Of course, these hadiths come long after the Quran, probably, and were probably made up by other Muslims who somehow had to justify their conquests and had to explain everything in a different light. But Muslims just can't accept this. They have big difficulties dealing with the fact that the Jews eventually emerged victorious, and that the Muslims seem pretty hopeless right now in this fight. And they think that's why they hold on to the idea that this is not how it will end. Mm-hmm. The time will probably come soon, in some near future, where the tide will turn, and then the prophecies as they were spoken by Muhammad will be fulfilled, and the Jews will be hiding behind rocks and trees, and we will go and kill them. So this whole issue is really has really increased the hate and the resentment that these people already had to a very, very serious, messed up level.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned some of the possible a possible Islamic interpretation of what's happening right now is that Allah is somehow testing them or something like that. So, guys,
Yeah.
again, this is where I ultimately want to head with this. I don't mean in this live stream, although we'll say it in this live stream. But I mean, again, over time, why is there this obsession, this absolute obsession with destroying Israel? Because it doesn't fit very well. It just doesn't fit very well. It's another thing that's apparently wrong with Islam and the Quran. If Allah says, I put you in the land and then you rebelled, and so I punished you, and then I brought you back and you rebelled again, and then I decided that's it, it's done, I'm taking you off the land, you're done, and then they come back, it's like, what just happened? What just happened? And so you can either conclude that Israel overpowered Allah, i.e. the Quran is wrong, Islam is false, something along those lines, which you don't want to conclude if you're a Muslim. You do not want to conclude that. And therefore, your other options, very similar to what we've said with the West in general, you can interpret this, the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Your Islamic alternatives are either that Allah is testing you. He's giving you this obstacle so that you can continue striving for it and so on. And he's testing you. Or he's punishing you through Israel, right? He's using Israel to punish you for not enforcing Sharia or something like that. And so Allah is either punishing you with Israel or he's testing you with Israel. And so what I find interesting is if you want to say that it's just a test, which is how probably most Muslims interpret this. This is a test. It's a challenge. Yes, something is out of whack, but Allah is giving us the opportunity to fix this. And you say, okay, how is Allah, the creator of the universe, helping you go about this? It's like, what? You guys are teaming up with communists and a bunch of brainwashed college students and gays, queers for Palestine, and this is your group, and you go around the entire world whining like babies after slaughtering a bunch of people and taking a bunch of hostages and then claiming that you're the victims. And it's just like endless whining and crying. Oh, UN, come rescue us. UN, come help us. Oh, court, come help us. Oh, all you nations, come help us. Will you help us? Will you help us get those Jews? You guys got 49 Muslim countries and Allah on your side and the final prophet with the final revelation, the final book. You've got it all. And you're running around the world like little beggars. Please, will you help us with those 15 million Jews on the entire planet? Please, we only have 2 billion people. They've got 15 million. Can you please help us destroy them? Come on.
Dude, don't you know that the Quran says, do not take the Christians and Jews as allies. Instead, take the gays and the neo-Nazis as allies.
Yep, neo-Nazis. I forgot to mention neo-Nazis on their side.
And the communists.
Neo-Nazis, communists. This is Allah, ladies and gentlemen. So, guys, note this is why I say I want to turn the discussion in this direction over time. I want it to be this is Allah. This is your God. Oh, please, LGBTQ and neo-Nazis and communists, come rescue me, college students, because Allah just seems really, really helpless right now. This is it's pretty. There's a lot of stuff that's going on that is absolutely not hilarious, but this is just hilarious. Like we've got the final book, the final prophet, we've got God on our side, we've got everything, and there's this tiny little nation that just keeps crushing and owning us. And so we're just going to spend our entire lives whining and protesting and ripping down posters of hostages. Oh, that little boy was kidnapped. I'll show him. I'll tear his poster down. Wow, this is what your God. This is your God. This is the strength and power of your God here.
Oh, those who believe, befriend the gays so you may be victorious, and that Allah may reward you and the communists and the neo-Nazis. Indeed, this is what Allah decreed.
This is how Allah rolls. This is the most pathetic thing. Guys, so anyway, the point is, once you put it like that, it sounds really pathetic, and it sounds like a big slap in the face to Islam. And that's what it is. Israel is a psychological slap in the face to Islam.
Yeah.
And that's why they're losing their minds over it. Deep down, they feel like it's a refutation of their religion. And if they can't win against that little tiny country, what does that say? What's that say about the Ummah? And again, this is the same issue they have with the West. For up until the 20th century, Muslims always had a really big, powerful empire. And all of a sudden, Western nations could just slap them around like they're nothing. And it's like started destroying their confidence in Islam. And that's why they had to interpret this. Maybe Allah is punishing us, or maybe he's testing us, and we really have to crack down. And this is where you get the revolution in Iran. It's where you get the Muslim Brotherhood. Everyone starts, we need to crack down. It's where you eventually get ISIS from.
Yeah. The funny thing is, when it comes to this whole thing, like that it looks so when the Muslims conquered Jerusalem, when they conquered the land, they thought this is a fulfillment of the prophecy, and this is the ultimate defeat of the Jews. It's done now. See, this just shows this is proof that we're on the right path and all of that. And now suddenly, fast forward, 1,300 years after that, suddenly the Jews come back and they're like, nah, we're taking over now. So, and they're like, wait a minute, what is this? We thought this was proof. We thought this was prophecy. So when you ask them now, they say, well, there will be a future time when it will be conquered again.
Yeah.
If you lost it 5 times and conquered it, and they would still say, no, there will be a 6th time, and that will be the final time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what, in fact, we never actually went through this, but I wanted to. That's exactly what Yasser Qadi says, because we'll look at the passages here at some point. But so the Quran says that Allah, he sent the Jews into the land. He told them to take the promised land, and then they rebelled, and he punished them, and then they rebelled again, and he punished them. And there's confusion in Islam as to what those things refer to, because that actually happened 3 times. The Assyrians, as far as like conquering them and like deporting massive portions of the population and so on, that happened 3 times. It happened with the Assyrians, and this was with the northern tribes. It happened with the Babylonians, and that was with the area of Judea. And then it happened with the Romans, not the original. I mean, the Romans conquered Israel in the war in the 1st century, but it was in the 2nd century after the Bar Kokhba rebellion. That's where the Romans just like, they tried to completely erase this, right? They deported the population, most of the population. And that's when the Romans said, all right, we're just calling this Palestine. We're destroying this. We're destroying these people's national identity, period. Right. And so it happened 3 times. And so you can go to different Muslim commentaries and they'll say, oh, it refers to the Assyrians and the Babylonians, or they'll say, oh, it's the Babylonians. And what are the two punishments? Because there were 3. There were clearly 3. So which 2 is it talking about? So some of the commentaries will say it refers to the Assyrians and the Babylonians. Some will say it's the Babylonians and the Romans. But then you have Sheikh Yasser Qadi. He says he's interpreting the first punishment as like those something to do with those earlier ones. And then he's interpreting the second punishment as a prophecy of Muslims conquering the land again in the future. And isn't this amazing? You could be a respected sheikh, academic here in the U.S. saying that the Quran prophesies we're going to go kill all these guys and completely wipe them out. Interesting stuff.
As long as you shake it, it's all fine. It's all good.
Yeah, so the light at the end of the tunnel in all this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Ummah is getting pretty desperate. Da'is are getting pretty desperate. They got the avalanche of apostasy in front of them. They can't win against the West. They can't win against a tiny little nation like Israel. They're feeling really bad. And that makes them really aggressive. They think violence is the solution to anything, the Dawa guys. And so they're encouraging the Palestinians to just keep fighting, keep terrorizing. And if they lose this, if Israel crushes Hamas, gets their hostages back, big loss for the Ummah I think they're going to have problems thinking that this is going to work again in the future. They will, but I mean, the avalanche of apostasy is going to continue, and people are going to catch on. Wait a minute, Allah just doesn't seem to have our back here in any of this. We just keep getting less and less powerful. Our nations are crumbling. All people want to do is flee our nations. And then in the heart of Islam, Saudi Arabia, what are they doing? Opening bikini beaches and now legalizing drinking and having Iggy Azalea twerk on stage while singing "Worship the Goddess" before you and stuff. What is the hope? What is the hope?
What has the Ummah become? Is this what Allah told us? Yeah.
Yep. So,
yes.
Let's go ahead and watch what?
Yeah, let's continue, and then we'll get to some more topics on the Palestine thing.
Yeah, let's take a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll watch my original video that I posted. It's pretty short, and then we'll go into Scythe Talk's video because Scythe Talk's going to respond. He didn't go fully in the direction that I wanted him to go, but he said a lot of the stuff I was totally expecting, and some stuff that was so dumb that I didn't expect it. I mean, didn't even expect it. Like dumber. Like, I've come to expect really dumb stuff from these guys. Some of this was way dumber than I expected.
That's good.
All right, a couple super chats here. Kathy says, "Shalom. Are we having fun yet?" I'm having fun. How about you, AP?
Yes, I've been having fun all day. I've been having fun. Lots of fun. Yes.
Mike Paps, TikTok, kiss the rock. That's the Islamic version. TikTok, smooch the rock. Thomas says, "Finally, I can give money to the Christian channel instead of that atheist channel. God bless you both." I know. Refreshing, isn't it?
Don't you just hate the atheist
Can't stand these donkey-brained atheist channels.
Yeah, anyway.
Have we ever explored the idea that Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab might be Mossad agents sent to expose the truth about Islam?
I don't think so. I mean, if the Mossad came, they would hire somebody like Daniel Kikiju. They wouldn't go to Ali Dawah, which is like, you can't give that guy tasks. He's like barely functioning. And I would say Muhammad Hijab is just crazy, you know.
Yeah, so we have mentioned that as far as these guys, like some of them do so much damage to Islam that they're actually fueling more and more the avalanche of apostasy. And so the question is, are they sincere or are they inside agents, right? And no, I think they are sincere. The problem is, like, if someone were to hire me and say, "David, we want you to infiltrate Islam and destroy it from within," I would pretty much act exactly the way Daniel Haqiqatjou acts. I would act the exact same way. If my plot was to destroy it from within, I would go in there and I would act exactly like that guy does. So that's the issue. He seems sincere, but that's exactly what I would seem like if I were doing that. You know what I mean? Weird stuff.
That's what, like, secret services do, for example, in America, where they like to hire somebody among the neo-Nazis to plant someone among neo-Nazis as an insider. Like, for example, they do that with Nick Fuentes, as it seems. Like, the guy is obviously a plant. Like, he can't be serious. And with Islamists, it could be that Daniel Kikich is one of those. But yeah, no, Ali Dawah is just he's like Ali G, and that's probably not a very good idea. Yeah.
I like the name El Quran Hubbard. Test, something happened to my card. Well, test, you passed the test here. Joel says, "All ham to Allah. Have a good stream and have a good night. Eat bruji haguslag." That sounds like some Scandinavian stuff.
What? Yes. Okay. Good. Haguslag.
My two favorite big league chews. You're into big league. If you're into big league chew. Avi here says, "Hey guys, are you familiar with the work of Loe Asharif?"
Yeah, I'm not entirely familiar with what he does. I know I follow him on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter. We messaged very briefly. I can't say that I'm familiar with his stuff though. And he's been active recently on the whole Israel discussions as well.
Oh, he follows me.
You see. He has 200,000 followers on Twitter. I didn't even
Huh.
realize.
Yeah, I don't
Promoting
know who.
peace through a love language. Yeah. I remember he messaged me when we were going to Israel and sent like a very heartfelt message. Very interesting. Nice guy.
Wait, is he the
Yes.
Muslim guy who will be siding with Israel in some of this and saying, "Hey, we shouldn't be fighting"? Is that the guy?
I'm not sure
I'm
if
just
he
trying to see
is
who this
a
is because I
Muslim.
I, I I remember seeing clips of a guy like that. I don't know if this is
No,
the same guy.
that's you're thinking of a different guy. You're
Okay.
thinking of what's his name? Also something with L. Uh,
Oh,
all these
something
guys,
with L. Oh, okay, that narrows it down.
with L's, they're all taking the L. I don't know what the
Everyone
guy's
needs
name.
to take the L.
Yeah.
I wish I had
Something with
a
L.
I wish I had an L in my name just so I could say take the L.
Just Google something with L, probably will come up. Yeah. Anyway,
Let's see. Unikir, whole world runs virtually on innovations by Jews and Christians. Correction. JC loves D Wood and AP equally.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Okay.
Danish Orthodoxy, Jim Farm, a wet paper bag is stronger than a law.
That's pretty based.
Yeah. So the question was, is Israel stronger than a law? Pair characters. They still got to fix this in terms of it just showing the little super
That's ridiculous.
thing. Yeah, instead of just telling us, describing it for us.
It's
If you need a Netflix show, watch Fauda. Great show. You heard that? Fauda?
You're sitting there watching Netflix. Yeah, I have heard it. It's an Israeli show about the conflict as well. Wanted to look into it years ago. Haven't. Maybe I might. I don't know.
And what do you guys think will happen to Gaza after the war? Yeah, what do you think? Not what you think should happen, AP. What do you actually think is going to happen here?
Oh, well, that's a relief.
Yeah, I was careful to clarify that because AP has been getting increasingly radical.
Not that radical. What I think will happen. So once Israel is done with Hamas, they already made it clear it will not be given over to the Palestinian Authority. It will not be given over to a new authority. They said it's over, it's done. There will be no more future Hamas is done or Fatah is done. We will take control of the situation and make sure that something like this never happens again. I guess there will have to be a re-education of the people and the complete, I don't know, removal, surveillance of all kinds of movements that seem to be that go the way of Hamas, that believe in terrorism, fighting and blowing themselves up and killing others and so on. It's like when the whole disengagement from Gaza was done in 2005. The initial plan was to disengage, and some people who were not convinced with removing themselves from Gaza were convinced with the promise that if Gaza is taken over by a radical group and they fight us and they shoot at us, we will just go in and take it and say, okay, we tried and we're done. But then Netanyahu came and he shifted from that policy completely and adopted a policy of kind of appeasement, of just saying, yeah, okay, how about we let these guys have their money and we'll just sit there and hope that things will not get out of hand. And that didn't work. So I guess they will go back to what the original plan was, to, if it gets out of hand, they will go in and take control of the situation.
Yeah, and the biggest issue here, and I mean that I see with all of this is, as we've mentioned, Israel doesn't want to treat this like a religious issue. And that does make sense for them. They do have lots of Muslims who live in Israel, and they don't want to say, hey, this is a big religious battle or something like this. But the problem is it's a religious battle for the Muslim side. And Israel doesn't want to respond to the religious claims. They don't. We've seen this from everyone, right? I mean, we saw when Rabbi Shmuley was on with us. He didn't want. He was defending Islam. This stuff has nothing to do with Islam. Muhammad Hijab. He's just no. This is all an embarrassment. All this, and we heard that over and over and over again from Israeli Jews when we were in Israel, even from the families of hostages, like people whose families are still being, like whose family members are still being held hostage. They're always careful to say, and we understand this is not about Islam, and this has nothing, Islam has nothing to do with this stuff. And so the ongoing problem is Israel's going to have no problem taking control of Gaza if that's what they decide to do. But you're talking about how do you like re-educate the people so that they give up on the terrorism? How do you do that without going after the religious ideas? And they're not going to want to go after the religious ideas. And if they did go after the religious ideas, you'd have all the Muslim nations around the world. Look, they're attacking the religion they invaded, and then they're attacking the religion, which is what Islam always does. But if anyone else were to do that and criticize Islam, they've got the problem. And so they're in an awkward spot of not being able to get to the root of the problem. And that just means that someone else has to do it. So we'll take care of that for you, Israel. We'll take care of that for you.
That is the thing. Whenever I discuss with anybody, with important people, with others there in Israel, it's like I had to convince everyone that I talk to that Islam is, that it's not just extremism, or not just a strain, not just an interpretation, not just a certain movement. No, it's like Islam itself is problematic, and I still get lots of pushback to people that I talk to in Jerusalem and elsewhere. I remember sitting down and having a long conversation with somebody for like half an hour before our interview on whether I'm sure that it's Islam, and I'm like, yes, it is. Look, I can show you. It's right here. And still it was like, yeah, okay, but maybe things can change.
Yeah, they can. You just have to shake everyone's confidence in Islam. But that's what they're not going to want to do.
But this is the messed up thing. Like we are told, Muslims are always told that Israelis, Jews, they hate Islam. They want to eradicate Islam. They're against Islam. They vilify Islam. And then you go to Israel and everyone is like, oh, no, I don't think Islam is the problem.
Yeah. And then when I step on a Quran, then we get contacted by the government. Hey, take that down. Take that down. You can't do that here. It's like, wait, these are the great Islamophobes of the world. Like, I can't even step on a Quran. What the heck?
We were kind of hoping that we would get in legal trouble just to have an adventure, and to also just show to everyone that Israel is not what they think it is. And suddenly it would be like, the Dawa guys would go like, yeah, Israel, good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would actually be interesting. All right, 2 more quick super chats here, and then we got a bunch more to get to, but 2 more, and then we'll jump into a video. Guys, they are actually winning, but Allah is the best of deceivers. That is fun. Allah is tricking everybody into thinking that Israel's winning.
Here's a funny thing. Nasser Al-Ghazali here in the chat says, Israelis today are not Jewish, they are Western European. Most Israelis today don't have ties to Western Europe. Ashkenazi Jews are about half the population, and those have ties to Europe, but also genetically proven that they have ties to the land. It is they have been a tribe for a very, very long time, but half the population is actually Mizrahi Jews. So Jews from Arab lands are higher in number than Ashkenazi Jews. So that whole claim is just complete nonsense, and they are definitely Jewish.
Hey, how come you're all blurry? You got your good internet working?
What the hell happened here? Huh.
You're fine. You're fine though, because I'm way more concerned about sound, and your sound is good.
My sound is good.
Your sound is fine. All right, we'll get to some more super chats here in a few minutes. We will go ahead and watch this video. Ready, everyone? We're going to watch the video that Muslims are responding to, and we're going to see where this goes. So,
okay.
You may have seen this. We'll pause it a couple times. Other than that, we'll just watch it. I have a very important question for all my Muslim friends out there. Oh, so by the way, again, this is the Mount of Olives, but I'm standing on a bench, and that's a wall behind me that you couldn't record over unless you're standing on something. In the Quran, Allah seems to know an awful lot about the children of Israel. O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you.
O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you, and how I preferred you to all creatures. Children of Israel.
By the way, you've got all these verses. You got multiple verses that Allah preferred the children of Israel to all creatures. What's funny is these same Muslims, Jews view themselves as the chosen people. That's so evil. Your God says he preferred them to all people. Oh my goodness.
I'm just
Children-
imagining how Mossab Hassan Youssef would read this and go like, "Oh, children of Israel, I preferred you
To the cow. If I had to choose between the children of Israel and the cow, I would choose the children of Israel.
Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. And I will make him, Isa, Jesus, a messenger to...
Recall this reference, ladies and gentlemen. We might take a look at it. And we'll make him, Jesus, a messenger to the children of Israel. This is relevant because our good friend Saif is going to say the children of Israel only refers to the people during the time of Moses. Oopsie. Well, this is 12 to 14 centuries later there, Saif Talk, still called the children of Israel. So you just called Allah a liar. I agree with you, but not for this reason.
But children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. And this verse is interesting because Allah quotes the Talmud, Mishnah Sanhedrin, as a revelation from him.
That's another important point. This is a quotation from the Talmud. This point, whoever kills a man, it will be as if he killed all mankind, which is always quoted as the most peaceful verse in the Quran, is actually from the children of Israel, but that's the Talmud. So this is talking about the children of Israel during the times of the Talmud. So during this period of rabbinic Judaism, Allah is still calling them the children of Israel.
Children of Israel, 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 children of Israel. And we've
What's that?
I think the video is stuck. It's lagging.
Oh yeah, it's on repeat.
verily did allot unto the children of Israel a fixed abode. We gave unto Moses the scripture, and we appointed it a guidance for the children of Israel. Children of Israel, 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 children of Israel. We verily gave Moses the scripture, so be not ye in doubt of his receiving it. And we appointed it a guidance for the children of Israel. And we verily gave Moses the guidance, and we caused the children of Israel to inherit the scripture. Children of Israel, children of Israel. And verily we gave the children of Israel the scripture, and the command, and the prophethood, and provided them with good things, and favored them above all peoples. Children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. Allah has all kinds of things to say about the children of Israel, both positive and negative, sometimes extremely negative. He talks about the children of Israel over and over again like a beating drum. Now for my question. We have dozens of Quran verses about the children of Israel. Where, oh where, does the Quran talk about the children of Palestine? Chapter and verse. Where?
Hey, this is Sal. Where's Sal? He should make a remix of this. He should make a song.
Oh, children of Israel?
Yeah, the children of
Just
Israel.
a beat,
And then
children
where's
of Israel,
Sal?
children of Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, that was kind of the basic point. We can finish the video, but yeah, that was the point. And the obvious response, the obvious easy response is, oh, but children of Israel isn't talking about Israel, the land. It's talking about the descendants of Jacob, whereas Palestine's not a person, and so there can't be children of this and so on, something along those lines. But yeah, that's kind of where you want to take them. Okay, so where does Palestine come from? Where does it come? It's not like other places in the Bible and groups in the Bible where they're named after an important person that they descended from. So where does it come from, and which people are there? And the other point, which as soon as they go in that direction, I already built it into this because I go through a passage where the children of Israel are commanded to conquer the Holy Land. And so, pretty simple point. What you can say is, okay, either the Palestinians as a people group didn't exist yet, or they're so completely irrelevant to Allah that he just doesn't mention them. Whereas Allah seems obsessed with the children of Israel. So where are you getting the idea that the Palestinians are center stage and the children of Israel, just like later invaders who come along in the 20th century? Where are you getting that from? Where are you getting that from? It goes completely against what your God and your prophet said. We got all that, AP?
Yeah, it's very, very. So there is the whole thing that is so incredibly stupid. This whole narrative that that the people in the region, the Arabs, are Palestinians, and that these Palestinians are a people, and that they are a distinct culture, a distinct nation, separate from all of the others, and that they are indigenous to this land. This whole narrative didn't exist. This whole narrative is very new. It emerged within the last 100 years and wasn't even popular until the 60s, when it became like an official thing to push that idea. In the 1910s, in the 1920s, and so on, the people referred to themselves just as Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
They said we are Arabs. We're Arabs. We're Arabs of Palestine. Palestinian Arabs. That's what they called themselves. First, it was just Arabs, and later it turned into Palestinian Arabs, because they had to conform to the idea of the Western people, or the British, coming and calling that place Palestine, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, we are the Arabs here in Palestine. The idea that they are Palestinians and belong to that land came much later. Such a thing did not exist. It came long after Zionism. It came long after the creation of the modern state of Israel. Before they called themselves Palestinians, Europeans would call everyone who lives in that region a Palestinian. They would call Jews Palestinian. They would call Arabs Palestinian. The Jews had a Palestinian football team. It was called the Palestinian football team. They had all kinds of Palestinian things. They were thinking of a Palestinian flag with the Star of David on it. We still have pictures of that. That's how it was. We have a thing from 1919 where there is the first Palestinian Arab Congress, and they explicitly say, it's still available, the document is still there. They explicitly say that Palestine, also called southern Syria, is merely a district and is part of the greater Syria. It was never separate, and it never shall be separate. That's what the Arabs said back then. But of course, now you have people, after the whole invention of the Palestinian people, you have people nowadays who go on TikTok to graduate in history and say, no, they are not Arabs, they are indigenous people. So it's stupid.
Yeah. So just recap what we've learned over the past several months, ladies and gentlemen. This land was at one point controlled by Jews, 1st century. 2nd century, Romans conquer them, and displace tons of the population. The Romans eventually convert to Christianity, and so then that land was under Christian control of the Byzantine Empire. The Muslims eventually conquered the Byzantines, and then the Crusaders came and conquered it back. Then the Muslims conquered it again, and eventually it was part of the Ottoman Empire. That was a tiny area of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire sided with the Germans in World War I, and they lost. So they lost their empire. Their empire was divided up by the British and the French to decide what steps needed to be taken. And then after World War II, you had Jews saying, we really can't count on the rest of you nations to protect us in your nations. Can we please have a spot? We've talked about this before, but can we please have that spot that we've been talking about for ourselves? The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem was literally conspiring with Hitler on how to wipe out the Jews there. Can we have some of the land where we're not under the control of these guys who admittedly want to completely exterminate us? Can we have a spot of the land that they're not in control of? And guess what? People said, sure, we'll have this spot that's under your control. We'll have this other spot that's under non-Jewish control. And what happens? Some people reject that plan. Arab nations attack, Israel wins, and just keeps winning over and over again. That's the actual history. And then, as AP pointed out, you get to the 60s, and that's where they come up with the idea that, hey, all these different people, because you had Muslims there, you had Christians there, you had Jews there, you had Arabs, Assyrians, you had all kinds of people from all over the Ottoman Empire who were there. And that's when they decided in the 1960s, we're all going to be an indigenous ethnic group called the Palestinians. We're just gonna say that because that will be helpful in propaganda. It will be helpful in manipulating morons. And here we are. People buy it.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. Let's just go through 2 or 3 super chats and then jump back into this awesome video filmed on location. Let's see. Weekly jizya to keep me from Islam. God bless you both. Muslim cry bullies. I like the phrase. I don't use the phrase cry bullies, but it is a good descriptive name.
It is.
Thank you for all your efforts in exposing the cult. That's how we roll. Good question here. David Wood, why didn't you baptize that heathen beside you? It was pretty simple. As soon as I said I was going to forcibly baptize AP if we got anywhere near the Jordan River, guess who wouldn't go anywhere near the Jordan River, and modified the entire plans of the trip so that we never went anywhere near the Jordan River. I won't name any names. I won't name any names, but his initials are AP. All right, let's go back into this dope video.
Exactly. Nowhere. Not a single verse, not a single mention, not a peep about the children of Palestine. Why is it all about the children of Israel?
Good question.
Why doesn't Allah so much as acknowledge the children of Palestine or Palestinians or Palestine even once? Not a single solitary shout out.
Trust me, bro.
If I didn't know better, which I don't, I might think that Allah never mentions the Palestinians because the Palestinians as an ethnic group hadn't been invented yet. And spoiler alert,
Yeah. And guys, we just talked about this, but take this away. Let me back up a little bit. You can find references to Palestine. You can find people who are calling themselves Palestinians in a sense, but it's similar to like saying, oh, I'm a New Yorker or something like that. It's not that there's some ethnic group that is New Yorkers. It's just that's where I live. As far as the Palestinians as some sort of people group or ethnic group or something like that, that is a very recent invention. It happened within the lifetimes of some of you who are watching that was invented. And then the propaganda has been so successful that now you have morons on TikTok and Twitter who think, nope, the Palestinians were always there. And this is just, there were always a group called the Palestinians, and the Jews were never there, and the Jews showed up in the 20th century. If you know anything about history, you know how absolutely insane that is. I get this every single day, claiming that nothing in Jerusalem, nothing in the temple, none of this had anything to do at any point with Jews until the 20th century. And that the claim is that it's the Jews who made all this, who conspired to write themselves into the history of that place. And it's absolutely insane. All right.
Hadn't been invented yet. And spoiler alert, the Palestinians as an ethnic group didn't exist until more than 3,000 years after the children of Israel conquered the Holy Land from the river to the sea. Allah in the Quran has no clue that the children of Palestine, the Palestinians existed at all because they hadn't been invented yet. In fact, you'll only find Palestine mentioned as a place in the Quran if you go to a modern Quran translation like the Hilleli Khan translation, which adds Palestine as commentary in parentheses in verses like Surah 5, verse 21.
And this is funny because, so I make all that, children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. Where does Allah mention the children of Palestine? So I knew at that point, what are they going to say? They're going to say correctly, children of Israel refers to, descendants of Jacob, Israel. And Palestine is not a person, so you're not going to have his descendants, which leads into, well, where did the name Palestine come from? And why doesn't Allah talk about that? Doesn't mention the name. So here I shift it too. Doesn't mention the name Palestine. Doesn't mention Palestinians. Doesn't mention any of that stuff. But then here we have Allah ordering the children of Israel to conquer the land. And this is all connected to Moses. So you're talking 12th to 14th centuries BC. And Palestinians don't exist as a people group until the 20th century and so on. And somehow morons are saying, like, you've got, I mean, there are people who believe in Islam who are nevertheless claiming that children of Israel were never there. This is a later invention. They're going against their own book. Like, you don't even know what your own book says. So anyway, that's the point. And we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
O my people, enter the Holy Land, Palestine, not in the Arabic, which Allah has assigned to you, and turn not back in flight, for then you will be returned as losers.
Losers.
So, which people are commanded by Allah to enter Palestine and conquer the land?
The Palestinians.
Is he talking to all the Palestinians who wouldn't exist for another 3,000 plus years? Let's read the context and find out. And remember when Moses, said to his people, i.e. the children of Israel, O my people, remember the favor of Allah to you, when he made prophets among you, made you kings, and gave you what he had not given to any other among the Alameen.
Wow, really does sound like Allah preferred the children of Israel to all people. Strange that he never says this about the Palestinians.
Mankind and jinn in the past. O my people, enter the Holy Land, Palestine, not in the Arabic, which Allah has assigned to you, and turn not back in flight, for then you will be returned as losers.
Losers.
They said, O Moses, in it, this Holy Land, are a people of great strength, and we shall never enter it till they leave it. When they leave, then we will enter. 2 men of those who feared Allah and on whom Allah had bestowed his grace, they were Yusha and Caleb, Joshua and Caleb, said, assault them through the gate, for when you are in, victory will be yours, and put your trust in Allah, if you are believers indeed. The passage continues, but this is part of the story of the children of Israel escaping captivity in Egypt and conquering the land of Canaan, aka the Holy Land, aka what the pagan Romans eventually called Palestine. Now, which people were in the land that would eventually be called Palestine before the children of Israel conquered?
Guys, you get this point here? According to the Quran, so we're just talking about the Quran. According to the Quran, Allah orders Moses and the children of Israel to go conquer the land that would eventually be called Palestine. So the only question there is, what do you want to say? Do you want to say that the Canaanites, who are the people that the children of Israel conquered, do you want to say that the Canaanites are the Palestinians? If so, then Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer them. Or do you want to say the Palestinians were later, and so they weren't the people that Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer? If so, then they were there later. This is a response to a simple, stupid claim being made repeatedly on TikTok and Twitter, saying that the Palestinians were always there and the children of Israel didn't come along till way later. Dumb stuff. All right.
The Quran says it was the children of Israel. Yeah, anyway.
That's pretty racist.
Which people were in the land that would eventually be called Palestine before the children of Israel conquered it? Who were the people who were conquered by the children of Israel? The Canaanites, the most pagan of all pagans. The children of Israel conquered the Canaanites. You've got 2 options here, my Muslim friends. Get ready to pick one. You can either say that the Canaanites were the Palestinians, in which case Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer them, or you can say that the Palestinians came later, in which case the children of Israel were there long before the Palestinians. So, either the Palestinians were there first because they were the Canaanites, but Allah wanted them conquered by the children of Israel, or the Palestinians came later.
Pretty simple.
Take your pick, but either option completely destroys the stupid, insane propaganda that I hear 487 times a day. The propaganda that I hear every single day is that the Palestinians were always there until the Jews showed up in the 20th century, so the land should be given back to its rightful owners, the Palestinians. On a side note, I totally reject the ridiculous claim that if one group was on a piece of land before another group, you have to give the land back to the earlier group. And you reject it too, my Muslim friends. If you really believed that land has to be given back to people who had it at some earlier stage, you'd be giving back 49 Muslim countries to the people who were there before Islam tried to conquer the world.
He's right.
You'd be giving back Mecca because it was conquered. You'd be giving back Constantinople because it was conquered. And you would definitely be giving back the Temple Mount behind me.
True. Good point.
But you'll never give back anything because you don't really believe in this moral principle you made up. Why do you pretend to believe a rule that you made up when you obviously don't believe it? Let's face it, the reason is that some of you really hate Jews, and you'll say absolutely anything, no matter how false, no matter how insane, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how hypocritical, as long as it helps you manipulate morons into supporting your plans to wipe out Jews.
That's true.
The most amazing part to me here
Here's the amazing
is that
part.
you'll even contradict your own God and your own prophet for your political agenda. Your God and your prophet say that the children of Israel conquered that land. You say, no, Allah and Muhammad are lying. The Palestinians were there, and then the Jews came and stole the land from them in the 20th century. To all you Muslims out there who keep babbling about the Palestinians being the originals, congratulations, you're apostates now.
Like
You
Apostate
reject
Prophet.
what Allah says in the Quran because you don't worship Allah. You worship a political agenda.
That's true.
A Muslim is someone who submits to what Allah and Muhammad say. You don't submit to what Allah and Muhammad say. You submit to Hamas and social media jihadis and neo-Nazis and whatever brainwashed college group you're in.
That's very
And
racist.
that, not according to me, according to your God and your prophet, is the unforgivable sin of shirk. As for your thoroughly idolatrous pagan political agenda, do everyone a favor and just stop.
Good point.
Listen to the song You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones on repeat until the message finally sinks in. You're not getting Israel. It's not happening. Not today, not tomorrow, not during Ramadan, not for Christmas, definitely not for Hanukkah, not on a boat, not with a goat, not in a house, not with a mouse. Take the L and do something constructive with your lives. Might I suggest using some of that high-octane protest energy of yours to call on Hamas to release the hostages and surrender.
Wow. Good point. Powerful stuff.
You know what I'm thinking of right now is
Yeah, I'm psychic.
yes. No, remember when you were editing this video and when we were on the plane and you were looking up different passages and sources and images to put on this, and that was when we were sitting next to
Oh yeah.
ne-
We were sitting
next to a religious Jewish guy,
a very Orthodox Jew.
and you are there looking up all these free Palestine things.
Yeah, I'm looking up free Palestine graphics. He clearly got a bit antsy around us, and then eventually walked away until he had to come sit back down. Yeah, I'm sitting there looking for that Palestine graphic. I'm sitting there. He's sitting right beside me. I don't think he spoke English. Did he speak English to you at all?
He said maybe one or two words. I don't know.
Yeah, I said a couple things to him, and he acted like he didn't know what I was saying. So yeah, I'm just sitting there with all this free Palestine graphics and pulling up, figuring out which one I want to use and stuff like that. And this guy's he's sitting right in between me and AP.
That's funny.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, so guys, you get the pretty simple point, right? It's not a thorough discussion of a bunch of these issues. It's a response to a simple, stupid point that the land belongs to the Palestinians because they were there first. If you want to say they were there first before the Jews, you have to say that they're the Canaanites, whom, according to the Quran, Allah ordered the Jews to conquer. And so, very simple point, but that undermines some of the stupid claims. And
I just want to answer to that like a Muslim would and say, oh, if it's so simple, then why did you make a whole video about it?
yeah, it's so simple. Why did it take you 10 minutes, not 1 second?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Why are you talking about it if it's so simple?
Hmm?
Why are you obsessed?
Yeah, and I like making, because the goal here is to help other people respond to the stupid claims. And so I will sit there and make an 8-minute, 10-minute, 12-minute video that packs a lot of stuff in there, but the takeaway should be pretty simple. In other words, once you see online someone saying, no, the Palestinians were always there and the Jews came in the 20th century. Okay, what about the Quran? Where does the Quran talk about the Palestinians? Where? So this is very simple takeaway. But there's the attempt to respond to a simple but really stupid point that's being shared on TikTok and Twitter. But then there's the longer term goal, which is to eventually get to this underlying anxiety in the Ummah. How is this happening? How is Israel happening right now? What is going on here? This makes no sense from the perspective of our religion. How are these guys, who according to our religion are the worst of creatures, who, according to our religion, are supposed to be subjugated long ago, how are they massively more powerful than us and nothing we do can stop them? How is this happening? Doesn't make sense.
Our time will come. Allah will bring justice.
Yep. I've had tons of Muslims responding in the comments, and we might do something at some point where we actually go through all the different responses that Muslims can have on this issue, because I think this is actually, Israel is a huge problem for Islam. This should not be happening according to Islam. And
wow,
so
David just said Israel is a huge problem
for Islam. You see?
Yeah, now you're just trying to walk back and to do damage control.
Yeah, but so we had our good friend Saif Talk, the genius of all geniuses. He's smarter than Ali Dawa. We'll give him that. But we'll go through Saif Talk's video and see how he responded. Again, some of it pretty much what I was expecting. The rest of it even dumber than what I was expecting.
What a compliment! He's smarter than Ali Dawa.
Yeah. There was I saw a clip from Game of Thrones once, and it was Peter Dinklage. Who was he? Tyrion. He's talking to his sister, who's the queen, the blonde-haired chick. I think Lena Headey. She was on 300. Oh, but it was funny. So, she's Cersei. So it's Tyrion talking to Cersei, and he says something. She goes, "Do you take me for a fool?" And he goes, "On the contrary, I believe that you are of above average intelligence." And it's like such a sick burn, right? Calling someone of above average intelligence. It sounds like it's a compliment, but if you're talking like the queen, you say, "No, you're above average." That's a yes. So we'll start complimenting people by saying, now here we're talking, we're interacting with another Muslim's response, and to his credit, he is smarter than Ali Dawa, which
he's above Ali Dawa intelligence.
He's above Ali Dawa intelligence. Oh, we got to keep using that. This guy is above Ali Dawa intelligence. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Yep. All right, we'll go through a couple super chats here and then jump into Saif's video. When will Muslims accept the judicial system? Wow. 72 version says, D Wood, how's your wife doing? She's fine. Why are you asking?
72 versions. Hey, that's nice. That's good. I'm glad somebody adopted that.
Yeah. Do you think it's wrong if IDF soldiers are mocking the Palestinian people by making videos on TikTok? I'll give you my perspective. If they're mocking like regular people there, that would seem messed. Although, it's kind of mixed perspectives from, I would say, from the perspective of the world that's watching, that's not the image that you want to convey. For the people there who are actually trusting in Hamas and want to kill as many Jews as possible, I don't know, mockery. They could be mocking on purpose in order for these guys to get their point across. I would say if they're mocking like Hamas and the attempts to slaughter them and so on, I'm totally fine with that. What's your view on this, AP?
It depends on what you mean by wrong, but there's also a thing in Israel among Israelis nowadays. After the last few decades, Israelis kind of moved away from their image in front of the world to just listening to each other and to the sentiments of the Israeli Jewish population, or the Israeli population in general. Right now, to be very honest, speaking to the people in Israel, after October 7th, there's an incredible unity, and the last thing people care about is the image in the world, because they think obviously we were right all along that we can't just put our trust in the world's nations and all of that. This was a horrible thing, and it happened after listening to all kinds of appeasement policies and this and that. We don't care anymore. We will look out for ourselves. So they're basically just entertaining each other instead of looking for the image of Israel in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty accurate. And and I raised that as a criticism because I pointed this out to some of their guys who are focusing on social media and stuff like that. I pointed out, you guys are basically completely focused on your perspective, and you're being blasted on social media on all kinds of issues. And I think you could win pretty much every single one of these arguments, but you're not putting an effort into it. It's just, hey, what is most important to our people? Let's keep going with that. And it's, I get it if they're kind of like, maybe giving up on the rest of the world agreeing with them or something, just saying, okay, we're going to do what we're going to do. You guys do what you're going to do. But I think they could be winning a lot of these points.
Yeah, but they're much more focused on right now. They say, let the world talk, let people talk all kinds of trash. We will see what happens in the end. Mm-hmm. And they're going on with their campaign, and it's going very well. So,
Allah only made it appear like Palestine existed. Yeah. I love those responses, by the way. Everyone should always be, every time any Muslim complains about anything, it should just be, well, Allah only made it appear such and such.
That's what Allah does. That's what they do.
Does. The Syrian born again. God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
If Aisha was alive today, would she be a child?
What?
Well, as long as she was above 11 months old or something like that.
That's a very interesting question.
Viati says Iran of today was a direct reaction to Western powers destroying Iran's democracy and implementing a puppet monarchy who would not nationalize its resources. Revolution got rid of Western exploiters.
It's not entirely wrong. There's a lot of truth to that. America is at fault. America has not always had the best ideas in terms of foreign policy, and America did meddle in Iran to overthrow and to install whatever they favor, which resulted in the monarchy and the resentment and all of that. And one of the main talking points, one of the main propaganda points of the Islamic regime or the Islamic revolutionary movement was that everything that is happening to us today is the direct result of America and Western powers interfering with us. So therefore support us and let's get rid of this. That's how they tricked people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Viati, you can have multiple issues involved in all of this, but look at what happens. Egypt, Afghanistan, Iran, some places that are Sunni, some places that are Shia, and they all, after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, they start modernizing, and then after the modernization begins, then all of a sudden they decide to go in a radical direction. There's a reason for that. And so, yeah, there are all kinds of local issues that are involved in all of this. But there is that underlying theme, and we're still in it. We're still in it today. Like this is still happening right now.
No, there can only be one problem, not more than one.
There can only be one thing. Solid Snake says, can't wait for ziplining over the Kaaba in Mecca land. Yeah, I want that too. Hey, and you Muslim leaders of the world, me and AP would like to tour the Kaaba.
I just want to party inside the Kaaba. I want to turn it into a club, like like a bar or
that's down the road. I'm talking about near future. We would like to tour the Kaaba, to walk around the Kaaba, to go inside the Kaaba, to make some videos. I'll even keep it respectful on the history of the Kaaba and so on. And you guys do that the way I just did with the Dome of the Rock. And I will not criticize Islam for one entire year. I'll keep my mouth shut about Islam for one entire year. The choice is yours.
Okay, yeah, I'll it needs a little bit convincing. I kind of have difficulties with the whole respectful part, but I could just follow David here and agree to that as well.
Yep. So, if you don't agree to our terms, then all of the insults that happened over the next year will be your fault, completely on you, leaders of Saudi Arabia.
That's good.
ProNode 22, what does this say, AP?
I don't know.
Max says, AP, will you make a video on Dawa in Germany? That's a good question.
I wanted to make that like a long time ago, but I never did, and I don't think I ever will.
You should make one good 10 to 12 minute video exposing Dawa, but saying it in German so that everyone can share that in Germany.
I could do that.
You could
do that. Totally.
I still don't know how every video. Well, you kind of just do live streams now. But back in the day when you made videos, how did you not take every single video and, as a multilingual person, translate it yourself, do the exact same video in German and the exact same video in Turkish?
I will do that tonight.
For all your videos? That's cool.
Yes, all my videos.
How much of the Quran is understandable without the commentary? Not a lot. And that's another problem with the Quran. The Quran claims over and over again to be perfectly clear, to be explained in detail. It's all crystal clear. Allah had all eternity to get the Quran as perfect as he wanted it to be, as perfectly clear as he wanted it to be. And you can't understand it without commentaries. And whenever I quote the Quran, any random Muslim from the street can tell me what Allah really meant, and it's the opposite of what Allah said. And it's just fascinating.
Hey, Rebecca just told me what that super chat meant.
Oh, yeah?
She said it means take the money, but you can't read this. In Hebrew.
That's pretty funny.
That's good.
Classic.
That's fun.
Iris says, Mabui, Muslim God is busy preparing 72 virgins for every Muslim. Yeah, he's too busy to deal with Israel. That would be a funny little comic. Like, Allah, why can't you help us with these Jews? Sorry, do you want your virgins or not? It's a lot of work preparing them. All right, one more, and then we'll jump into Saif's video from Leather Strap on Pleasure Machine of the... Is your jihad keeping stains off your carpet during golden showers? Well, for a limited time only, get a tarp styles like a prayer rug free with a purchase of the Super Goat V2 version 2.
That's pretty good, man.
Well, it's crazy that all of this stuff comes from Muslims.
Yes.
Like every weird thing that has become these common themes here either comes from the Hadith or from a Dawah guy. This is wild stuff, man.
I wonder if a Muslim tunes in and is like, look at this, they're just talking about inappropriate things. And all we're doing is just repeating things that the Muslim apologist said or that Muhammad said.
Yeah. Look, they're talking about golden shower. Yeah, that's what your guy was talking about, weirdos. Some random guy says, La ilaha illallah, Benjamin Netanyahu, Rasulullah.
Nice.
You actually need someone to just rise up in Israel and say, guys, I'm the new prophet of Islam, and I declare that y'all have to listen to me and stop attacking.
I was going to do that, but then
I've seen stools stronger than Allah. I've known goats with higher IQs.
that's pretty racist.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our video from our good friend Saif Talk. Get ready for me to be destroyed, AP. You might want to reconsider whether you should be doing shows with someone who's about to be this thoroughly humiliated.
Well, I thought this is our last live stream together anyway. So
Yeah, it has to be, because I've been destroyed.
David Wood and his atheist friend went to visit the Holy Land, and he posted a video as he claimed from the Mount of Olives. In his video, he tried to read the verses in the Quran
What's he say as he claimed from the Mount of Olives? That's obviously the Mount of Olives guy. All right.
mentioning the children of Israel. And he tried to insinuate that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't mention the children of Palestine is evidence that Palestine didn't exist.
No,
Pretty sure
Saif
that's not
Talk,
good, isn't it?
not the point at all.
he missed the most basic. He already missed the point. Wow, man. Oh god.
Did not take him long. And this is pretty standard dawah. We don't understand the point, and we're going to make fun of you for us not understanding your simple point.
Are you kidding me? This is like what is this? 10 seconds into the video, and he already missed the point. He already missed
Yeah.
the point.
But guess what? You'll never find one of his fans noticing that he didn't understand a point, because they don't understand it either. They look to this guy, a guy who can't understand the simplest of simple points that my poodle could understand. And they'll look to him as the great refuter and destroyer. Watch. I haven't looked at the comments, but I guarantee if we look at the comments, it's going to be, oh, alhamdulillah, you destroyed him. You
David Wood
him.
claims to have made a video in which he claims to talk about Palestine.
David Wood says that he made a video. All right.
SubhanAllah, this doesn't make any sense. Children of Israel means the children of Jacob alayhi salam. Palestine doesn't mean the children of a man named Palestine. I don't understand why David is demanding something that doesn't exist and nobody believes in.
Oh boy.
Follow again, Saif Talk. Children of Israel. I don't know if you... So the very beginning of the video is, hey, there are all these references to children of Israel. No mention of children of Palestine. But then I went on, no mention of Palestinians, no mention of Palestine, period. And then went on Saif Talk to point out that Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer the land that would eventually be called Palestine. No mention of any Palestinians. They do not fit in any. There's no place where you can fit them in to the Quranic narrative. You take the narrative of the Quran about what happened there. There's no place to fit the Palestinians in. Doesn't work. That's the point. Easy point. All right. Saif Talk.
Hold on.
What?
I don't remember. I don't remember if the Quran ever actually, mentions or explains the relationship between the word Israel and Jacob. Does it?
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, we know what it is, but yeah, I'm trying to think of.
Or
Yeah,
is that something that
I would
we
have
just
to
learn from others?
Yeah, I don't recall either, because I've never been paying attention to that. But yeah, that is a good little research project.
Never thought about that. Probably worth looking into.
Definitely worth looking into. Oh yeah. All right, back to Saif Talk. Destroying D. Wood's horrible argument.
Allah, in this video I'm going to react to his video and of course refute the lies and misconceptions about Islam and the Holy Land. So without wasting any time, let's watch the clips and come back.
I have a very important question.
To his credit, he doesn't play the entire video, but he's playing some clips here, and I don't know. I respect the guys who actually put at least some of the argument up on, like Fareed. Fareed will take lots of clips from us and play them, and so yeah, I think it's a good interaction. By the way, Saif Talk, if you ever want to join us live and have a discussion about this stuff, happy to join us and bring Fareed with you.
I don't think I could sit through that without laughing whenever he starts talking.
That's because you're racist, and I'll have to tell you beforehand, do not be a racist.
for all my
And
Muslim
now I want
friends.
to address what you said. And
Hey, now we got a problem here because your impression of Saif Talk is kind of similar to your impression of Masab Hassan Yusuf, and I know you like
because of
Masab
racism.
Hassan Yusuf, so okay, it's not a race issue with you.
Well, it might be because of racism. I don't know.
That's true. It could be.
There. In the Quran, Allah seems to know an awful lot about the children of Israel.
Good point. Good point.
O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you. O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you, and how I preferred you to all creatures.
All of
children
them?
of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. And I will make him, Isa, Jesus, a messenger to
Who?
the children of Israel.
Oh.
Children of Israel, children of Israel, children
Palestinians?
of Israel.
Allahu Akbar, he just proved that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not the author of the Quran. Imagine
What? What? Why?
Guys,
Why?
always watch for them claiming, haha, he just proved this, and his fans will
Why?
not stop and think for a second, like, how did that prove that? They won't think for a second. They'll just, oh, alhamdulillah, he proved it.
I'm really trying to understand before he says something. What exactly made him think that?
Yeah, he's going to explain that. So let me back up a little, and then we'll show how dumb this is.
Children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel.
Allahu Akbar, he just proved that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not the author of the Quran. Imagine
I like the sound effects. Quran. It helps. It helps if you're not able to think and you're just like, oh, but he has good graphics, so he must have made a brilliant point.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam an Arab, making it obligatory on every single human being on the face of the planet to believe in the prophethood of the Israelite prophets. And because of him, we believe today in almost all the Israelite prophets. We believe in Jacob, Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon, Zechariah, peace and blessing be upon them. We accept all the prophets of God. And we believe in Jesus alayhi salam as the true Messiah. We have zero problem with this. It is
All right. So everyone understand the point?
I just want to point out one thing, which is that Islam doesn't acknowledge all the prophets. It doesn't even reference half of the prophets or other figures that are found in the biblical tradition, including extremely important ones. Like Isaiah, for example, is never mentioned in Islam. But I still don't get it. How does this prove?
Yeah. So the claim is, if Muhammad were just inventing the Quran by himself, because that's what he said. He said, this proves that Muhammad was not the author of the Quran. If Muhammad were just inventing a religion, he wouldn't have acknowledged all these prophets. But he did acknowledge all those prophets, and therefore Muhammad couldn't have been the author of the Quran, and therefore he must be it must have come from God, and Muhammad must be a true prophet. And note, if you made such a ridiculous response like, hey, Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, who
I really want
came
to
up
kill
with
myself right
Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, who came up with the sect of the Ahmadis, he acknowledged Muhammad and all these other guys and Jesus, and therefore he must be a true prophet. This guy would think that is the dumbest argument ever offered by anyone in the history of forever. And yet he just used the exact same argument to defend Muhammad.
This is not even funny. This is
it's bad.
This is extremely sad.
It's bad.
Like,
This is
wow,
Dawa.
man. This is the human condition. Wow, man. This is just wow. I thought that's what he meant, but I thought, nah, that can't be it. So I'm trying to understand what he actually means, and that is what he meant. Wow, this is ridiculous, man. This is so ridiculously stupid. I completely understand it when when somebody like Geert Wilders says that Islam is a retarded culture. So
it is wild.
not a
Wow.
matter of race for us. It is a matter of truth versus falsehood. And yes, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did choose and favor the children of Israel. O children of Israel, remember my favor that I have bestowed upon you, and that I preferred you over the worlds. And which children of Israel were preferred by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Well, the next verse gives us the answer. And recall when we saved you, i.e. your forefathers, from the people of Pharaoh, who afflicted you with the worst torment, slaughtering your newborn sons and keeping your females alive. And in that was a great trial from your Lord. So the chosen people from the children of Israel were those who were alive at the time of Moses alayhi salam, and not their descendants today. But what
Ooh, did you see that?
That's so stupid. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Guess who just contradicted his God and his prophets? Safe
that is-
talk, it's you.
Instant fail. That's just
Guys,
so
listen to what he says. He says this only when the Quran talks about the children of Israel, it's only referring to the children of Israel during the time of Moses and not to later descendants, right? So let's just verify this what he
afflicted
said.
you with the worst torment, slaughtering your newborn sons and keeping your females alive. And in that was a great trial from your Lord. So the chosen people from the children of Israel were those who were alive at the time of Moses alayhi salam, and not their descendants today. But what
So there's a sense in which he's right. The Quran is not referring to the descendants today because the Quran was from back then. But the Quran is definitely not talking simply about the children of Israel during the time of Moses. We already looked at some of this. Let me go ahead and pull up a couple passages real quick. All right. And let's check this out real quick. Let's read this quick passage. Surah 3. It's already been up there. And remember when the angels said, we'll start at verse 45 for context. Remember when the angels said, O Mary, lo, Allah giveth thee glad tidings of a word from him, whose name is the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, illustrious in the world and the hereafter, and one of those brought near unto Allah. He will speak unto mankind in his cradle and in his manhood, and he is of the righteous. She said, My Lord, how can I have a child when no mortal hath touched me? He said, So it will be. Allah createth what he will. If he decreeth a thing, he saith unto it, Only be, and it is. And he will teach him the scripture and wisdom, and the Torah and the gospel, and will make him a messenger unto the children of Israel from 12 to 14 centuries earlier? So that's a Saif Talk. Saif Talk says that the children of Israel, when the Quran talks about the children of Israel, it's only talking about the ones who were there at the time of Moses and not to later descendants. But this is first century. This is first century. And Allah is talking about the children of Israel.
There's one thing I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. If you play again in his video what we just watched, I think initially he makes it sound like the Quran only refers to those people as children of Israel, but then it sounds like he switches to that it only refers to those children of Israel as chosen people. So I don't know if you want to play that again to see if
we're going to look at it, because if I recall, he does bring this up again. So yeah, we'll rewatch what he said and then we will check it out. But in the meantime, let me look at one more reference here. And I already mentioned earlier during this stream that you do have like Surah 5 verse 32, which actually quotes the Talmud and refers to that as revelation of Allah. But this is talking about it being revealed to the children of Israel. But here we have, just check out verse 14 of Surah 61, down at the bottom there. O ye who believe, be Allah's helpers, even as Jesus, son of Mary, said unto the disciples, Who are my helpers for Allah? They said, We are Allah's helpers. And a party of the children of Israel believed, while a party disbelieved. Then we strengthened those who believed against their foe, and they became the uppermost. So here you have, during the time of Jesus, some of the children of Israel believing in Jesus, some of the children of Israel not believing in Jesus, and then Allah strengthens the children of Israel who believed against the children of Israel who didn't believe. So, is children of Israel just about the children of Israel during the time of Moses? Don't see how it is. But yeah, let's go back to the video. AP's defending Saif Talk, trying to prove that he's absolutely correct in everything he says.
Stop bashing Saif Talk.
Let's go back to what he said.
Expect from someone who doesn't even know what to slaughtering your newborn sons and keeping your females alive. And in that was a great trial from your Lord. So the chosen people from the children of Israel were those who were alive at the time of Moses alayhi salam.
Okay, so the chosen people were just the people the people who were during the time of Moses. So that's what you're pointing out, right, AP?
But I think earlier he implied that the children of Israel only refers to people who were alive back then. But then here he says that the chosen people among the children of Israel refers to those people back then. So these are two different things. But if he's saying here, he is actually saying that the chosen people only refers to people back then. So he's here right now not saying that children of Israel only refers to people back then.
Yeah, and even that's not going to work, right? Because, I mean, the Quran itself said that there were children of Israel who believed in Jesus, and then Allah strengthened them and made them uppermost and so on. And so, not going to work. Not going to work there. But let's see where he goes with this. And watch. He always has to go into random attacks to distract his really stupid audience.
And not their descendants today. But what do you expect from someone who doesn't even know what Tafsir Sadi is, one of the most famous tafsirs of the Quran?
It's a garbage. I started reading Sahih al-Bukhari because Muslims kept quoting Sahih al-Bukhari. Right? There are endless piles of hadith collections that I'll never touch because Muslims aren't going with them. I started reading Ibn Kathir and Tafsir Jalalain because that's what Muslims were quoting. Muslims never quoted to me Tafsir al-Sadi, so I never was interested in it. And he's still using this. Oh, they don't even know. You guys never quoted to me, so why am I ever going to pay attention to it?
Let me tell you something. I'm pretty sure that lots of people in his audience don't know what Tafsir Sadi is.
Yeah.
I was in religious circles in Turkey. Nobody has ever mentioned it. I've never seen it anywhere. The first time that I heard it that I heard of it was online, and the reason for that is quite simple. It is a tafsir that is very much used in the Wahhabi, the Salafi circles, specifically the Saudi Arabia Wahhabi circles. It is not popular at all or known at all among other mainstream Hanafi Muslims, for example, which are the highest number of Muslims in the world.
So sorry, Saif Talk, just based on the number of Muslims who've cited this over the years, sounds like the Ummah thinks this is a garbage tafsir that is not worthy of us even examining on any issue.
I can't be sure if it's garbage, but nobody knows about it. You know?
Oh, it's garbage. It's garbage. All right. But what's funny is it's like, what would we expect from someone who doesn't even know what Hasadi is? Ha ha! You see?
This is proof.
This is the proof. Here we go.
Tafsir Sadi. Those disbelievers combine these three qualities: disbelief, lack of faith, and betrayal.
I actually like that this is now us watching his video of him responding to our video where we were talking about him. So that right there, guys, is like several steps removed, what he's actually saying there.
Nothing about this verse is against peace. Allah.
I don't even know much about this tafsir. What is this?
You see, this is the new proof that Islam is true. This is the new proof that Islam is true.
Either.
This is the proof. The proof.
The true believers of the children of Israel at the time of Moses alayhi salam were blessed with two prophets, Moses alayhi salam.
Look how dumb this is. The ones at that time were blessed with true prophets. The ones at that time. Dude, the prophets kept coming. The prophets kept coming. Until even according to the Quran, Jesus was still talking to the children of Israel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
and
So when
Aaron
when
عليه
did they stop,
السلام. And
when did they really stop being the chosen people? You know?
Yeah, he's saying during the time of Moses, that's when they were the chosen
That's it.
people,
Like,
and then
that's where it
not
was cut
afterwards.
off. After Moses, it was like no more the chosen people. That's extremely stupid.
Yeah,
Whatever.
pretty wild.
were given the Torah. But any of the children of Israel who rejects Jesus عليه السلام is a disbeliever. And
So if they reject Jesus, so that would mean until they rejected Jesus, then they were good. So they were the chosen people. They were the chosen ones for
Uh-huh.
12 to 14 centuries. Why are you saying it was only during the time? Why was it only during the time of Moses? That doesn't make any sense.
He's saying so those people in the time of Moses were the chosen people among the children of Israel, and then they were also still the chosen people until Jesus came and they rejected Jesus. Okay, well that's a very, very big range, man.
Yeah, and again, this doesn't fit with the Quranic narrative. Allah talks about the children of Israel and him ordering them to take the land and them becoming tyrants and him punishing them and then bringing them back and then they become tyrants again. So the point is, it's a very long process, a very long interaction with the children of Israel, Saif Talk. And so you're contradicting Allah again. Which, I mean, it's amazing. The point of the video is how Muslims are so quick to defend some political cause or some claim that they'll even contradict their own God and their own prophet. And you respond to it by contradicting your own God and your own prophet. Brilliant. Brilliant move there, Saif Talk. But keep it up, buddy. Keep it up.
It was the perfect move.
It was the perfect move.
any human being who rejects Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is also a disbeliever. Case closed.
Any man who rejects a child molesting, murdering rapist who could offer no real evidence that he's a prophet apart from the mole on his back is a disbeliever and evil and bound for hell. Yeah, welcome to Islam. We know what Islam teaches.
When the Quran said that, when the Quran basically talked to the Jews at that time and told them that there will be nothing to fear for them initially, then it was talking to disbelievers because those Jews at that time were certainly rejecting Jesus. That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we are always told when you ask the Islamic scholars that when the Quran initially talks to the Christians and Jews and says that that they have nothing to fear and they're reckoning is with Allah, but they have nothing to fear in the afterlife when they believe in all that, we are told that that is before the coming of Muhammad. But now Saif Talk is telling us that those Jews who rejected Jesus are then disbelievers. Is that what he said earlier as well? Or just no longer the chosen people?
Yeah, he said something like that. Let me see if I can get some of this up here.
So what was the deal with that?
What?
So this guy just makes no sense, man.
Yeah, we can't. It's like he's just saying whatever pops into his head and not really thinking about how any of it relates to Islam. So what, you want to check out what he actually said?
And were given the Torah. But any of the children of Israel who rejects Jesus alayhi salam is a disbeliever. And any human being who rejects Muhammad sallallahu.
Yes, he did say that.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah.
So he's contradicting with all the traditional opinion now on who the Quran describes as righteous and as people who have nothing to fear after they are dead. He's basically declaring that all of the Jews who rejected Jesus are thereby disbelievers, which means that when the Quran was talking to these Jews who have nothing to fear, it was talking into the void because there were no such people around because they were all disbelievers. This makes no sense at all, Saif.
Mm-hmm.
Dummy.
Yeah, makes absolutely no sense. So guys, we want everyone to understand the point being made here that AP just made, because this is an ongoing problem. I mean, what amazes me about this, AP, is the passages that they point to, that they try to use to say that the Quran says the Bible's been corrupted. They're almost all those passages are just about Jews and Christians misrepresenting what the Torah and the Gospel say. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, you see, this is saying the Torah and the Gospel have been corrupted. Well, if Allah is saying, hey, they're constantly misrepresenting their books, if that means that the book has been corrupted, what Muslim that we that we listen to on here, Fareed, Saif here, what Muslims that we're interacting with don't completely misrepresent the Quran over and over again. So that means the Quran's been corrupted, right? Because they're complete, and that's what I don't get. It's like a huge condemnation upon the Jews and the Christians that they're misrepresenting and misinterpreting their scriptures and teaching those misrepresentations to other people. And these guys, the Dawood guys, do it like it's a sport. Like they can't get enough of it. Let's keep misrepresenting every single thing Allah has ever said.
The Quran accuses the Jews and the Christians of idolatry for the mere fact that they apparently, allegedly misrepresent their own scriptures and take their desires and their priests and their religious people as gods or as lords besides Allah. But this is what Muslims are doing all the time nowadays. That means that they are idolaters.
It's standard. It's standard. And all right, so this is, guys, understand the point here? Because Saif has a problem here. So Saif is saying any Jew who rejects Jesus is not a believer. He's not a believer. And the Quran talks about the Jews during Muhammad's time. So keep in mind, later on you have Surah 3, which is the only religion that is acceptable before Allah is Islam. But here you have, we'll read the Pickthall at the top. Lo, those who believe in that which is revealed unto thee, Muhammad, and those who are Jews, and Christians, and Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, and does right, surely their reward is with their Lord, and there shall no fear come upon them, neither shall they grieve. Look at the requirements. If you believe in Allah and you believe in the last day, so you believe in the judgment, and you do what's right, you're safe. No fear. No fear. You're good to go with Allah. Now, the point that AP was making is the Jews of Muhammad's time that Allah is talking about, did they believe in Jesus or not believe in Jesus? Yes, you have always had, since the first century, you have always had Jews who do believe in Jesus. The Jews that Muhammad is interacting with, so the tribes of Medina, did those Jews believe in Jesus or not believe in Jesus? Because Allah here says, hey, those Jews, i.e. those Jews who did not believe in Jesus, they're fine. As long as they believe in Allah and the last day, and they do what's right, they're good to go with Allah. Saif Talk says, no, they're going to hell. They're disbelievers, contradicting Allah. That's the point AP was making.
That's it, Saif, you're done. That's it. So, but if you want to play it that way, you actually want to use random ridiculous nonsense and say, what can you expect? What can you expect from people who don't even know this and this? You just contradicted your scripture. You contradicted the Quran. You contradicted Allah. You basically condemned and ridiculed Allah here. You contradicted your traditional Islamic scholars. If you don't believe us here because you don't understand what we're saying, because you're not very smart, go maybe to a local to your local mosque, to a religious scholar, and ask them about this very thing. If you can't explain it because you barely understand your own thoughts, we can help you out. We can write it down for you. But so you have just basically denounced your religion here and your scripture and contradicted with Allah and interpreted or created a new interpretation to the Quran and thereby committed idolatry.
And the sin of innovation. And what did Muhammad say about innovation? Coming up with your own new way of understanding these passages? Muhammad said every innovator goes to hell. Saif?
Good luck in hell.
Pretty rough. Again, that's not according to us. That's according to your prophet, whom you keep contradicting.
Enjoy hell.
Wow. All right, let's go through a couple of super chats here, and then we'll jump back into Saif's powerful refutation. I still don't know anything he's refuted so far, but we'll get to it. There's got to be something good in there. The Mumbai terrorist attackers' audio transcript said the lives of Jews were worth 50 times those of non-Jews. Why they hate Jews so much? Well, lazy man, as I already pointed out here earlier, At first, Muhammad seemed to love the Jews and the Christians and thought they were all going to embrace him and they're all going to be on the same side against the pagans. Wrong. Jews rejected him. Christians rejected him. And that's when the message changed too. All these people have to be subjugated. They have to be subjugated. And the Jews, you had more revelations about them. So the Jews are actually commanded to be exterminated before the final judgment and so on. So you have all these passages. And yet there's this ongoing, Islam has this ongoing inferiority complex of they're supposed to be the best group. They're the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind, according to the Quran. They're supposed to be superior to everyone. Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures, according to the Quran. So you look around at the world, Christians and Jews are massively more powerful. How is this making sense? It doesn't. It's crushing their confidence in Islam. And they understand, the leaders, the dawah guys, the sheikhs, the imams, they understand if we do not somehow turn this around and show that we're the strongest, it's just going to wear down people's confidence in Islam over time. If we're the people who have Allah's stamp of approval, why are we just getting smacked around left and right?
I just feel bad for Saif, man. He will go to hell now. He is a disbeliever now. He has renounced Islam. He's an apostate, and he will go to hell. Saif, you will go to hell.
That's not according to us, Saif. That is what your God and your prophet say. Wow.
Allah says you will go to hell, Saif.
Input latency says, all ham to Allah, Islam's continual losses merely strengthen my iman. I'm not a fan of when Jews spit on Christians, but I'd rather talk about that later when we're done with Islam. God bless peeps. Actually, I talked about it right when I was in Israel. Talked about that with a Messianic Jew. He said that
was so funny. You had to like wipe all the spit off your face at first and off your clothes, and then talk to him. It took a while.
Isn't it amazing though? Like I get hundreds of messages. David, the Jews are gonna spit on you when you're Israel. Then you'll see. I walk around with a cross on, all over Jerusalem, all at the Western Wall, all up on the Temple Mount, all over Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, everywhere. No one cares at all. I ask a Messianic Jew that's a Jew who believes that Jesus is the Messiah, who's been there preaching for 20 years. He says, yes, there is a group that does this. He says there is a group there. He said they're like 1% of 1%.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, they do it. And he says, but what happens is when that happens, then everyone makes a video clip out of it if they catch it on video, and then they post it. And then you think, this is what Jews do. And my response to him was, this is exactly what Muslims say we're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to say, here's what some people from your religion do, and therefore that's what everyone from your religion does. After every terrorist attack ever, that's what we were told. We were lectured on that. Don't associate what ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab and the Taliban and all these groups, don't associate what they do with Muslims in general. That's true. But then we find out as long as Jews are involved, you completely violate the rule. Anything that you have ever seen any Jew do, if it's messed up, you say, see, that's what Jews do. And I've seen that over and over again. Look at how they treat Christians, and they'll take a clip of someone spitting or something like that. And then, of course, and the same thing, if you have a quotation from a Jewish rabbi in the 7th century, you can apply that to all Jews and say, all Jews believe this. Even if you interviewed 1,000 Jews and could find one of them who even knew what you're talking about, nevertheless, that's what all Jews believe. And if they don't admit it, then they're lying. That's how things work in Islam.
It's very similar to the Christians, or Americans will understand, is when people take the Westboro Baptist Church, which has a handful of members. Or even worse, when they go and say, every religion has extremists, every religion is hateful, every religion is violent. What about the KKK?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it's like. Not as extreme, but that's pretty much what it's like. What these people are doing when they talk about Jews.
Yes, it
okay,
is.
It's Jews. Yeah, stupid.
All right. All ham to Allah. Islam's continual losses merely strengthen my iman. Not a fan of when Jews spit on Christians, but I'll rather talk about that later when we're done with Islam. Yeah. We
But
talk.
Christians are racist. What about those people who are wearing those white hoods?
You see, yes, they've got white hoods on, so that's how Christians are.
That's how all Christians wear white hoods and
Mhm.
lynch people.
It is interesting how every single rule we're supposed to follow with every other religion on the planet suddenly, instantly goes out the window when we're talking about Jews.
The Jews.
All right, let's resume this last video.
alayhi wasallam is also a disbeliever. Case closed.
And we
Case
verily
closed.
gave Moses the guidance, and we
Anyone who does
what he
not
said?
believe that the most obvious false prophet in history is a true prophet is an unbeliever. Case closed. This is what Islam does to your brain, ladies and gentlemen.
He just said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a disbeliever. That's what he just said.
caused the children of Israel to inherit the scripture. Children of Israel, children of Israel. And verily we gave the children of Israel the scripture and the command and the prophethood, and provided them with good things and favored them above all peoples. Children of Israel, children of Israel, children of Israel. Allah has all kinds of things to say about the children of Israel, both positive and negative. Sometimes extremely negative.
Extremely negative? Well, not comparable to what Jesus of the Bible said. Matthew 12 verse 39.
Yeah. Wait, what? AP. Okay, he hasn't gotten to the dumbest of the dumb yet, but he's starting to get there.
I
So,
don't even. Oh my God.
I only pointed out that the Quran gets extremely negative about the children of Israel because I'm just pointing out that, hey, there are all these Quran references to the children of Israel, tons of them. And I know the Muslim response is going to be, but some of those condemn the Jews, you see? So this is so I acknowledge that there are passages that are very negative about the Jews. This was not presenting, this was not condemning the Quran or something like this. Is just like giving a description of the Quran, of what the Quran says. It's not just these passages I'm referencing aren't just affirming that the Jews were good to go with Allah for all time. So I acknowledge that there are some negative aspects. And then he goes, but the Bible says negative things too. Yeah, that wasn't the point, Mr. Never Get the Point.
You're trying to communicate with people who are severely, I don't know how you want to put it, but not very lucky, you know.
But yeah, let's see where he goes here. So he answered, a wicked and adulterous generation asked for a sign, but none will be given it except, I think what's funny is he interprets adulteress here as actually like committing adultery. Like he's saying all these women are committing adultery. Check this out.
He answered, a wicked and adulterous generation ask for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. Why is Jesus calling them an adulterous generation and accusing their mothers of being unchaste? And
Accusing their mothers of being unchaste.
Please save. Don't try to understand.
Oh boy. I think he gives another one here. Let's see.
by the way,
only-
this is what Jesus said in the New Testament. Matthew 5 verse 22. But I tell you that
Oh, now he gets even dumber. So guys,
Wait. What did he
What?
just quote?
He
What
was
was the quote before this?
he's quoting the wicked and adulterous generation. So Matthew 12. A wicked and adulterous generation. So this is people come to Jesus and, hey, give us a sign. He's already been doing miracles, but they're basically, hey, jump through this hoop, jump through that hoop. We want more signs. He says, you're not getting a sign.
Okay.
The only sign is going to be the sign of Jonah, which is referring to his resurrection from the dead. And so what do you have? There are people who believe in Jesus. They're following Jesus. There are people who believe in Jesus. And then you have people who, no matter what he does, they keep demanding more and more signs. He says it's a wicked and adulterous generation that acts like this. Somehow, I don't know what Saif's point was here. It's that Jesus is accusing their mothers of being unchaste. That's how he's interpreting adulteress here. But let's go on because he gets worse here. He gets
ask for
even
a
dumber.
sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. Why is Jesus calling them an adulterous generation and accusing their mothers of being unchaste? And by the way, this is what Jesus said in the New Testament. Matthew 5 verse 22. But I tell you that anyone who is
Get ready for even dumber here, AP. Ready?
Wait, this is what confused me. Why is he going like? And this is what Jesus said in the New Testament.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. But look at this. Get ready for, I mean, one, think about how dumb this is. And two, then ask yourself, why in the name of common sense is he talking about this as a response to the video? But check this out. Let's read this, everyone. Matthew 5:22. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, is answerable to the court. And anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell. Who's he talking about? Anyone who's angry with a brother or sister, saying this stuff to a brother or sister. He's going to say, because Saif is going to completely misrepresent this as anyone who says the word fool is going to hell, and therefore Jesus is contradicting himself because he does call the hypocritical religious leaders of his time, he calls them fools. Ready? So everyone got this?
With a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister Raka is answerable to the court, and anyone who says you fool will be in danger of the fire of hell. So according to Jesus, anybody who says you fool will be in danger.
Notice what he just said. Anyone who says you fool completely ignores, hey, brother or sister. Anyone who says the words you fool is going to hell.
Of the fire of hell. Remember this. Matthew 23 verse 17. You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? Why is Jesus contradicting himself?
Why
he
is he
asked you not to
contradicting
call
himself?
others fools or you'd be in the hellfire, and ended up doing it himself. This is why I always say the Bible isn't the word of God. And
this is why you see this?
Oh my.
Hey, these are the same guys. These are the same guys who we could quote 20 Quran verses affirming the inspiration, preservation, and authority of the Jewish and Christian scriptures. And they'll go to one, interpret it, give it a twist the interpretation and say that this is saying the Bible's been corrupted. And they don't view that as a contradiction. Allah constantly saying, go to the Bible, go to the Bible, go to the Bible, go to the Bible, go to the Bible. And them interpreting it as, no, don't go to the Bible, it's been corrupt. They don't interpret that as a contradiction. But you could actually just read the words of Jesus. Anyone says to your brother or sister, you fool, you're in danger. You're on dangerous ground there because you got a lot of hate and rage in your heart. And then when Jesus says to the Pharisees, you fools, you see Jesus contradicting himself. He can't represent what Allah says accurately. He can't represent what Muhammad says accurately. He can't represent what Jesus said accurately. This is dawah, ladies and gentlemen. This is all dawah is. It's deception and stupidity. All right. My goodness. Let's take a couple of super chats.
This is just so hopeless, man.
Israel equals the land of milk and honey. Muhammad likes both of them. Draw your own weird conclusions. Yep, that's true. One of those is where Muhammad was given the opportunity to choose the milk. He chose the milk.
Mm-hmm. And he said, I choose the milk.
Daniel, I kissed the Jews, told me if signs of maturity are shown in the womb, you can insert yourself into the birthing process, so to speak, to get a jump start on fetal fertility. No head, first delivery. Yeah, that sounds like something Daniel Hakikachi would say. Emmanuel, welcome back. AP and D Wood. I also have a plan to visit Israel. Any recommendations where to rent a barak or any good camel cuisine with urine wine? Yeah, we looked around for barak. I looked all over the Temple Mount area. Could not find him.
Yeah, I don't. We probably have to go again for that. Camel cuisine with urine wine, it's available everywhere. You can just go to any random restaurant.
I would actually like to try camel once because
I thought you were going to say camel urine, but yeah.
No, I have zero desire to try camel urine.
That would have been good. Yeah.
Blue Moon says Muslims, Christians, converts say Jesus was just a man. I thought that Jesus is that Son of God and a pathway to God. How can someone convert from Jesus, just a man that spreads love and justice, to believing in a religion that supports CA and violence? Converts say Jesus was just a man. What do you mean?
Yes.
Christians say this, or people who convert to Islam? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, we'll go with yes. Flypaint says, factoring in productivity and nonviolence, was the Europeans dumping 6 million Jews for modern mass migration the worst trade in human history? Yeah, think about that. So they're saying, hey, they try to slaughter all the Jews, and then they bring in a bunch of jihadis afterwards. Why was Muhammad really gay? Because he likes to see men. Wow. Jokes are really, really bad. Got some AP fans coming over with terrible jokes.
It's getting terrible.
Neges, that's another super sticker.
Neges Kafir.
AP, can you tell David about the alien question?
What alien question?
What's the alien question?
Wait a minute, there was an alien question yesterday. I forgot what it was. I had to look it up. I forgot it. It was during the live stream when you were gone, when you had to go to sleep like a baby.
I didn't have to go to sleep. I had to let my wife go to sleep.
Like a baby.
Yeah, so we'll find the alien question later. One or two more, and then we'll jump back into Scythe Talk's video because he's about to get even way more powerful in his responses. Believe it or not. My wife grew up Muslim in Turkey. Because of you, I learned about Islam and showed her how many problems it has. She accepted Jesus today, 2 years after I started talking about Islam. Thank you, David and AP. Still can't believe the eyes are the leather, because cows now leather, are the leather straps of the peach.
Oh, I found the alien question, but I'm not going to ask it.
Oh, okay, good, because it's probably sick and perverted if it's on your channel.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, yeah, Shepherd's Lamb, that's awesome, and glad we can help. And yeah, everyone. So guys, this is why you got to learn stuff and then keep sharing it, because there are still lots of people out here who need the info. Professor Dave made it on the canary list. Oh, is that Professor Dave, that angry atheist guy? Is he on the canary list? The canary list that's the list where they expose like anti-Semites, right?
Really? They put what?
Yeah, look that up real quick. Look that up real quick.
Well, the guy's he had a I don't know if he was always like that, but
he went off the deep end as far as like anyone who disagrees with him about anything.
Yeah, he went nuts completely.
He went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which is weird because this is one of AP's heroes from back in the day.
No, he's not. I didn't even hear much of him. I only heard his name before. I saw it here and there, but I never really looked into the guy. But then after October 7, he started visiting my Twitter page every day and saying, "You stupid F this and that, go do this and that to this and that person." It was like just insulting without end, and doing the same thing to everyone who just has reasonable discussions on the whole Israel issue. Yeah. And eventually I said, hey, you know what? Goodbye. So I blocked him. So.
Yeah. And there are some people who will insult when people are crossing some sort of line. And the goal is to keep them from crossing that line. Like, guys, if you want to go in the direction of insults, we can do this, but this isn't going to go the way you want. So just stop this stuff. Whereas some people are just becoming like, anyone who disagrees with me, I only respond with insults. And it's kind of pathetic.
Wow, they actually did put him on the list.
Wow. Interesting.
From 228, Dave Farina is a science educator on YouTube who spread hatred of Israel and denied Hamas terrorist war crimes against Israeli civilians. And then they added a bunch of some really messed up things he said. Ooh, worth looking into.
Wow. Eli here with the super chat. Love you both. Yes. Hey, Eli, you're in Florida. You coming to Apologeticon? Going to be in Florida tomorrow. And if anyone is in the area, it's in the Sarasota area. Sarasota is the airport I fly into. It's not far from Tampa, but yeah, if anyone would like to go to the conference, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I think that's a little ways away from you, Eli. But if you're free and you're bored, come check us out. The Nubis girl says, it baffles me on how Muslims never consider the option that Allah has abandoned them, and that's why their lives are crappy. While countries who embrace the children of Israel and moderate Islam thrive. And that's kind of connected to what we're talking about. Like, it's got to weigh down on you. Why are things not going for us the way they're supposed to go according to the Quran? And one of the conclusions would be, has Allah just given up on us or something like that? But you can't accept that as a Muslim, so you have to come up with other explanations. All right, let's jump back into this video.
Jesus alayhi salam is free from its lies about him and contradictions.
He talks about the children of Israel over and over again like a beating drum. Now for my question. We have
all that just to get to my question? That was at the very beginning of the video. Oh my goodness. All right.
Dozens of Quran verses about the children of Israel. Where, oh where, does the Quran talk about the children of Palestine? Chapter and verse. Where?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. And the Quran also...
Let's get that one more time so I can do it right. Watch this.
Like a beating drum. Now for my question. We have dozens of Quran verses about the children of Israel. Where, oh where, does the Quran talk about the children of Palestine? Chapter and verse. Where?
Nowhere. And the...
It's a pretty
Quran
simple
also
point.
doesn't speak about the children of Russia, the children of Mexico, and the children of France. Therefore,
why? Because those things were invented later and they weren't before.
Man. This guy is just
Yeah,
R-word.
yeah. He just made my point. Why doesn't the Quran? There are two reasons why the Quran would not talk about other places like France and Russia and whatever else he said. One, they didn't exist at the time. I mean, you could have people there and stuff like that, but they didn't exist as whatever you're saying now. Or two, even if they did exist, they're so insignificant that Allah doesn't even care about talking to them. All right. So those are your options. What I hear from Muslims is like the Palestinians are the most important people in the world and they've always been there. And I'm saying that doesn't make sense. Allah's never even heard of them or doesn't care about them at all and cared about the children of Israel way more because he talks about that over and over again in the Quran. It's a simple point. It's a simple point. What Muslims are saying makes no sense in light of what the Quran says. Go ahead.
Nothing.
Oh. And he just made the point.
I was just going to say, I wonder if somebody taught him how to breathe.
Let's go ahead and catch us. Guys, watch what he does, right? So my point is, and I said this in the video. If the children of Israel are commanded by Allah to conquer the Canaanites, then if you want to say the Palestinians were there first, you have to say the Palestinians are the Canaanites, or you have to say that they came along later after the children of Israel. In which case, either way, it destroys the narrative that we're told today on Twitter and TikTok, a very stupid narrative that has no bearing on reality and which even flies in the face of the Quran itself. And his response is, yes, but the Quran doesn't talk about France or Russia either. Why? Yeah, it doesn't talk about these modern nations because they came along later, much like the people group that they call the Palestinians. Yes, that's exactly my point. Saif, thank you. Thank you for the cosign on that one.
Where, oh where, does the Quran talk about the children of Palestine? Chapter and verse. Where?
Nowhere. And the Quran also doesn't speak about the children of Russia, the the children of Mexico, and the children of France. Therefore, they don't exist according to you.
Is that the point, that they don't exist? No. The point is that they came along later, which is exactly my point. Yes, they came along later. Wow.
Congratulations, Scythe Talk. You completely missed the point and also made David's point. Congratulations and
Children of Israel, the Quran is talking about are people, human beings, not a place. I am still confused.
Why the Quran never says children of America? That means America doesn't exist.
Yeah, he once again did not get the point. He's saying the children of Israel are people, not a place. That's correct, according to the Quran. And in the video that Saif is responding to here, I point out those people were commanded to conquer a land that Muslims now call Palestine. So they were commanded to conquer that land. So the children of Israel were in the land, according to the Quran, and they were in the land for a long time, from the conquest of Canaan down through the time of Jesus. So you're talking 12 to 14 centuries that you've got the children of Israel there. No mention of Palestinians before, during, or after. How important are the Palestinians here? They either didn't exist because they're invented later, or they're so insignificant Allah doesn't care at all about them. Simple point. And you're kind of, he's affirming it and doesn't get it. Oh boy. Welcome to, gosh. Are we seriously going to be able to keep this up? Just talking to the same guys over and over again for years who never understand points? Yes, by golly, we will.
I thought Farid was pretty bad, but this guy is significantly worse.
All right, Farid, Ali Dawa, Saif. Rank them in order from dumbest to most brilliant.
Yeah, Ali Dawa, Saif, Farid. Yeah.
So Ali Dawa, dumbest, Saif. I agree. I actually agree.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting? Because Ali Dawa, who's the dumbest of the dumb, is the most popular. That's the one who becomes most popular in Dawa. Like the dumber you are, the more popular you become.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, yeah.
Yeah, because the darkness, there'll be layers of darkness down there, yeah? I got to make a video of me jumping in the water, diving down, then coming back up. It's true. It was dark down there.
Yeah.
The Quran is the word of Allah.
That's funny.
Let's see. NES says, streaming at 4 a.m. Jerusalem time. Again, anti-Semites. Genocide, by the way. In what order should I read the New Testament? You can have a couple different answers to that. NES, I would pick one of the synoptics. So that's either Matthew, Mark, or Luke. They all have unique content, but they all share a lot of the same information. If you wanted to pick a short one, go with Mark. That's the shortest. It's fast paced. It's Jesus went here and did this. Jesus went there and did that. Jesus went here and did this. It's very fast paced. So I would read one of the synoptics, then read the Gospel of John, then read the book of Acts, then read Paul's letter to the Romans, and then go back and just read it straight through. So that would be my order of things.
I would read it in the order of the Knights Templar.
Yeah, because everyone's going to listen to a donkey-brained atheist tell us how to read the scriptures.
Yeah.
The Knights Templar. The Knights Templar. Do you mean the Knights Templar who used to use Al-Aqsa Mosque as their headquarters? Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
No. Hey, NES, what you want to do is you want to start with the book of the Council of Nicaea, but that was removed from the Bible at some point by someone, according to Sneeko.
Yeah.
These Israel trip videos are the bomb. Rock that truth. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it sucks It sucks I didn't get to make more, but fortunately I'm heading back later this year to make some more. And I was actually serious in that video where I was at the Dome of the Rock, and I'm like, guys, all you've done is send us insults. These videos that I'm about to make here would have a very different tone. I wanted to make just strictly informative, just a couple of strictly informative videos on like, here's the Dome of the Rock, and this is the basic history, and not have a word like, you know, sort of like tourism type videos, just explanation. And then these guys run their mouths at me all week, and then they get all mad that I start blasting away. But I did like the couple of videos that I did actually like them. I wasn't planning on making lots of stuff like that. I was planning lots of videos, but I sort of fell into a little groove there of kind of making it infotainment while describing it, tossing in some jabs. So yeah, I do like that approach. So I'm going to be doing that in the future. Making videos like that.
Don't forget to say inshallah, otherwise it will not happen.
Inshallah, otherwise it won't happen. Just like Muhammad getting answers from Gabriel. Awesome little, what's the picture? What's the round picture there? I always forget what that's called.
I don't know.
What is it called? Like a thumbnail is a picture on a video, profile picture? Okay.
Just call it profile picture.
Okay. D Wood, you guys have the most entertaining and interesting educational channels along with your commenters on YouTube on otherwise not so entertaining subjects. Thank you. Yes, I agree completely. That is a perfect summary of our channels.
The most serious channels too, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry says Genesis 28:13-14 reiterates God's promise to Jacob, ensuring his lineage and the land, reinforcing the Jewish ancestral claim to Israel. Yeah, the only claim that we would make is that for some reason they no longer have some sort of divine guarantee to the land or something like that, and you can debate that. But that's, if Muslims wanted to argue that, they can argue that from the Quran, that Allah is punishing them or something like that and kick them off the land. But that brings up the issue: why are they back on the land then? Did they overpower Allah? But what we're actually hearing is, no, the Palestinians were always there. They're the natives, and Jews came along in the 20th century. It's just insane. It's just like insane according to everything. It's according to the Bible, according to history, according to archaeology, according to the Quran. It's insane, and they keep spouting it.
What's so stupid is that so when you make this video, you're basically responding to a ridiculous revisionist idea that people pretty much recently started arguing, and then here is Saif Talk trying to respond and defend that stupid position, and there is no reason why he should be doing this.
Yeah, zero reason. Oh boy. Adil Ham Ars, that's I guess that's for Hamas. Anonymous says the UN has classified what is happening to Palestinians as genocide. Countries around the world are charging Israel at ICJ2. You are on wrong side of history, sympathizing with Israel. P.S. I'm not Muslim.
When did that happen? When did the UN call it a genocide?
Yeah, when did that happen?
When exactly did that happen? That's very interesting.
Happen?
I must have missed that.
Hang on. Let's look it up. No, maybe we missed it.
Yeah, it just happened. It just happened right now. Genocide, Israel. Let's see. Oh, we missed it. Oh no, it never happened. Interesting. Never happened. I missed it because it never happened. How did I miss something that never happened? Huh.
And
Anonymous, it's not a genocide just because you call it a genocide.
Yeah, that's the thing. If the UN right now said it's a genocide, I would still be going, how is going after Hamas, hiding behind people, how is that a genocide? Like how? That's the definition of war. That's what happens in a war. Someone attacks you, kills a bunch of your people, you go after them until you make them surrender. And guess what? Civilians are going to get killed along the way. If you're dropping bombs and so on, that happens. That's totally normal in war. How does that suddenly become a genocide when Jews are involved? So if the UN said it, I would say the UN's a bunch of morons, which is basically what I think the UN is anyway. So, not seeing it.
However, even by UN standards and by the standards of the ICJ, such a thing never happened because they can't just throw that word around like a bunch of social media freaks, like a bunch of TikTok guys who are just looking at what Kim Kardashian is doing, and then on October 7th they suddenly flip to Zionism is bad without ever having heard of that term before. So no, just because you guys are saying it, that doesn't mean it's a genocide. The only side here in this conflict that was actually committing a genocide, attempting a genocide, starting a genocide was Hamas on October 7th. And you know what? Yes, that's actually it. On October 7th, Hamas attempted to commit a genocide against the people of Israel, against the Jews. They announced that years in advance and tried it. And people around the world, including imbeciles like this guy here, or other so-called Palestinians, actually celebrated that. They actually joined in on the celebrations, and so many others on social media still join in on that while they are accusing Israel of committing a genocide, which is a ridiculously stupid, idiotic claim. If anyone here is a genocide supporter, it is those who are applauding Hamas here. And let me say one thing. If one side, if a population or if a group is actually trying to commit a genocide against you, or against me, against us, and we then respond with full force against them and make sure that they never ever get the chance to do that again. And unfortunately, while that is happening, a lot of people die because, surprise, surprise, when you start a war, people die. Then there is nothing bad about this. It should be happening. It should be violent. It should be forceful. It should be a brutal war to stop those people from attempting a genocide or even thinking of a genocide ever again in the future. That is what Israel is doing, and you can, I don't know, suck your thumb while that is happening. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and say something I've said over and over again. If you want to criticize Israel for some particular thing, like, hey, you should have been more careful when you were dropping this bomb because look who got hit or something like that, or if you wanted to criticize some IDF soldier for being too trigger happy and hitting the wrong people and so on, you won't hear a word of criticism out of me, because there are all sorts of things to criticize. That's true in every war. You can look at every war and say, oh man, the US shouldn't have done that. Oh man, Russia shouldn't have done that. You can always say those kinds of things. But if you're saying they should not be going after Hamas until they have crushed Hamas, no. They're in an extremely difficult position where they've got a group that wants to wipe out the entire country and has shown they are capable of way more deadly assaults than anyone thought they were capable of. And Israel's saying, we're going to stop these guys until we're going to stop these guys wherever they go, wherever they hide, we're going to come get them. If you're saying that's wrong, yeah, we're just going to have to disagree on that.
Good for you. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Israel definitely doesn't care what you're complaining about. Anson says, sweet baby Jesus, if religion is writing thesis, Momo is the worst person to commit plagiarism, not only stealing the idea, the whole context, but also try to cancel the original authors. Yeah, isn't that interesting? He copies everything. He copies everything from Jews, Christians, and pagans, and then has to subjugate and wipe them all out because they're exposing him for being a plagiarist and not knowing what he's talking about. Yep. Yuggles here says, odd that the Quran is written in AD while the Bible was penned in BCE as Palestinians and Arabs claim indigenous status. And yeah, so you've got the Old Testament doesn't mention the Palestinians. It mentions the Philistines, but Old Testament doesn't mention Palestinians. New Testament doesn't mention Palestinians. Quran doesn't mention Palestinians. And modern Muslim, nope, Palestinians were always there. No one ever noticed. No one ever bothered to notice this entire people who have always been on that land. It's weird situation. Farfor says, Israel's a big problem. Cheese do la la. David Wood is on our side, you see? Powerful Farfor. Velvet Jazz says, Anonymous, learn your history. Oh, that's a response. So that was a response to that earlier one by Anonymous. Anonymous, learn your history. David and AP are on the side of what is right and what is truth. Screw history if it ends up supporting lying morons. Yeah, and
Nicely said.
I have to say, Anonymous, you might have been saying the same thing during World War II. Look how bad these Jews are. If you're defending them, you're on the wrong side of history. My goodness.
Yeah.
All right, back to Scythe Talk, our hero for the day.
Are you asking this question?
Because he's proving everything I'm claiming.
People like David are liberal secularists in everything except Palestine. When it comes to Palestine, all of a sudden, international laws don't exist. Please make a choice. Do you want to solve the conflict religiously using the Quran or the Bible, or secularly by respecting?
I'm not trying to solve the problem using the Quran or the Bible. I'm responding to a false, stupid claim that's all over social media, Saif. It's very simple. This is not me. I've solved the Israeli-Palestinian conflict by quoting the Quran. No, if you have a stupid view of the history, I'm correcting, since a lot of this ridiculous rewritten history is coming from Muslims on social media, I respond using the Quran. Guys, you don't even realize you're apostates according to the Quran if you're contradicting everything Allah says. It's a simple point, Sak. How do you have to say, oh, David's trying to do this thing that he would not even dream of doing right here? So, he's not doing that thing that David obviously isn't trying to do. I'm trying to solve the problem by quoting the Quran according to Saif. My goodness. Oh boy. Welcome to Dawah. Welcome to Dawah, ladies and gentlemen.
International laws and UN resolutions. You can't just keep picking and choosing.
Why is it?
It's hilarious. He seems to really think that whatever the UN says, we're really good with that. I would get rid of the UN. If D Wood were in charge of the world, D Wood would get rid of the UN. That organization is so stupid and insane and corrupt. Oh my goodness. Oh, but the UN says David is secular and believes in whatever the UN says. What planet do you live on, dude?
I wouldn't get rid of it. I would just kick half of them out and get rid of half of the branches that they have, and then say, how about we return this to whatever the purpose actually was when this was started.
I would get rid of it and start over with some new organization, because that one's too far gone.
Maybe you're right.
But Saif thinks David would. He believes in the UN, but he doesn't believe in the UN when they're condemning something. I think the UN is a bunch of morons, Saif. They're a bunch it's a bunch of anti-Semitic morons. Yeah, I believe whatever they say.
It's a bunch of morons on a different level, because they actually appoint Islamic terrorist entities to positions where they give them, the right to actually say something about, women's rights or human rights or stuff like that. I don't know, giving Iran or Saudi Arabia or other atrocious entities that shouldn't even exist the right to have a say on human rights issues. I think the UN has become an incredible joke. So that's our position on that, Saif.
Yeah. So, Saif, whatever you happen to think, I don't look at any organization and say, this organization is infallible. Whatever they say, that's what I'm going with. That's insane and idiotic. If the UN says something that's correct, I'll say the UN just said something that's correct. If the UN says something idiotic, I'll say the UN said something idiotic. Just like the Quran. If the Quran says something that is correct, I'll say the Quran is right about this. If the Quran says something stupid and insane and idiotic, I'll point that out too. That's how real life works. I don't know where you're getting. Oh, they just believe in whatever the UN says. Oh my goodness!
Because he practices Islamic thinking. This is how you think in Islam. This is how you learn. You don't learn to think, actually, but this is how you learn to function in Islam, which is you just take everything that Islam commands and go and command it too, and everything that Islam forbids, you forbid it too. There is no in between. It's like this or this. You can't even think independently. You have to you have to go with that. Okay, is this good? Therefore, I must do it and command others to do it, or is this bad? Therefore, I must forbid it and ban everyone from doing it and punish them if they do it. This is how Islam functions, and this is what you end up with. This lack of basic critical thinking skills is what you end up with when you are programmed to follow this Islamic principle of stupidity.
All about the children of Israel. Why doesn't Allah so much as acknowledge the children of Palestine, or Palestinians, or Palestine even once?
And yeah, so there's for everyone, for all the critics who jumped in. Oh, but Palestine isn't a person to have children. Yeah, that's why I clarified. Palestine, Palestinians, children of Palestine. No mention of any of it. Allah's never heard of this, or he just doesn't care about any of it. How is this like the central issue of your religion today? More important than even the words of Allah, because they'll rally around this, and they don't care if they're contradicting Allah, because they're obsessed with this political issue. How is this? How are you guys not thinking more carefully about this? That's the issue here.
Allah.
And then Saif's response is, but the UN that David worships, they say he's wrong. How do you do that, David?
They say it is wrong. Yeah.
Not a single solitary shout out.
Mm-hmm.
This guy thinks when the Quran is speaking about the children of Israel during the time of Moses alayhi salam in Egypt, is somehow speaking about Israel today. The children of Israel were blessed with
Yes,
nope.
it is. It is actually speaking of all the descendants of Israel. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, and again, Saif, the point of the video was, according to the Quran, children of Israel were there way back in the day. No mention of Palestinians. And so how do you defend the claim that the Palestinians were the originals and the Jews didn't get here until the 20th century? That's the point of the video. It's very easy to understand. I can't see where you've understood anything that I've actually said in the video.
so many great prophets that we love and respect and take as role models. But as soon as they rejected Jesus alayhi salam, they lost it and became disbeliever. And as soon as you Christians rejected Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you lost and disbelieved. This is very simple. And if you are
AP, remember what he just said? Because this is, recap the point for anyone who tuned in late. So he just said, the moment the Jews rejected Jesus, they became unbelievers. What was the problem about that you pointed out earlier?
The big problem, the very obvious one, if you could just think a little bit, is that the Quran actually initially approaches the Christians and Jews in a positive, in a good way, before it turns completely nuts and hostile against them. And it says that the Jews and the Christians and the believers have nothing to fear, and they will have their reward in the hereafter, and so on. So it treats them as people who have hope for the hereafter and who can be rewarded. So the interpretation of that is, the thing is, later on the Quran also starts saying that that nothing except Islam is acceptable, and then Jews and Christians go to hell. So when you ask what the interpretation of this is, the interpretation is commonly, well, the Quran does say that they will be rewarded in the hereafter, there is nothing to fear, but when it says that, it refers to those Christians and Jews who were there until Islam came and told them to become Muslims. So the Jews in Muhammad's time around him would still be okay and would have nothing to fear until Muhammad brought the message to say, okay, you're done now with these religions, now you must believe Muhammad and convert to Islam. However, according to Saif Talk here, Jews became disbelievers as soon as they rejected Jesus, which was roughly, I guess, 600 years before Islam ever began. That means that the Jews in Muhammad's environment, who evidently did not believe in Jesus, were disbelievers, according to Saif, which is in contradiction with the Quran and in contradiction with every interpretation of the Quran by Islamic scholars throughout history. And thereby, Saif has left Islam and become a disbeliever by taking his own interpretation as Lord besides Allah, and he will now go to hell and burn there forever with the idolaters. Shame on you, Saif.
Innovator, 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 innovator.
Terrible. Disgusting.
Pretty bad. Rocky Service says, what do Muslims say when you confront them about they share a religion with the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim? I'm sorry, I mean jinns. Yes, so jinns can also convert to Islam in that religion. I haven't really discussed that with Muslims that I'm aware of, so I wouldn't know how they would respond. Hakikachu's prepubescent virgin dust bunny. No comment. Yak Yak says, would Daniel Hakikachu marry and have relations with a 9-year-old girl? Surely, if it's good enough for Muhammad, it's good enough for him. No, I think he totally would, and it wouldn't surprise me if he has already, and just keeps it secret.
Already does. Probably already has.
Keep in mind, she wouldn't have to be 9. She could be 5 or even 11-month old if he found someone who was willing to give parental consent and that child reached precocious puberty. And guys, keep in mind, as creepy as Daniel sounds in all of that, he is better than his religion. His religion does not require signs of puberty. Does not.
So Daniel Hakikachu may or may not have a wife already in secret that is 6 years old or something like that. We will never know. Can't be sure.
Oh, hey, Anonymous was back later. So Velvet Jazz, you sound insane. So support genocide because some Muslims on the internet lie. I don't know I don't know how you're claiming to respond to Velvet Jazz. Our objection, Anonymous, is to the claim that it's genocide. We don't believe that Israel going after a terrorist group that is hiding among civilians is genocide. If they just bombed the entire place down to nothing and exterminated everyone, you could call that a genocide. Going after terrorists who are hiding a better than 2-to-1 civilian to fighter ratio is very, very good. I posted a clip on Twitter of a military historian saying for people who are doing urban warfare, hunting down terrorists to get a better than 2-to-1 ratio, civilian to combatant ratio, that's very impressive. And you go, no, it's genocide. You can call it genocide. We're saying we don't believe that it's genocide. We think it's stupid. And the problem is you're destroying the meaning of the word, just like the meaning of the word racist, because you have actual racists in the world. When a bunch of college students get programmed that anything they disagree with, they call racist. Okay, you're actually destroying the meaning of the term for when it could be legitimately used. And what do you do when you say, now anyone who bombs anyone, no matter what they're bombing over, it's genocide? What do you call actual genocide when you're trying to like exterminate a people group? What do you call it then? Because you've destroyed the meaning of the term.
Everything that is about killing people, no matter if it's justified or not, or in whatever way, is the hereby genocide. And also, Anonymous, to point out, so we don't believe it's genocide, but it also doesn't matter if you believe it is genocide or not. It's simply not. It simply is not genocide. That's not how it works. You can go as much as you want and fall for the victim playing of the Islamist and so-called Palestinian crowds and say it is genocide. That just means that you are naive enough to fall for that propaganda. It simply is not the case.
Yep. Sid Dave says Netanyahu should allow for a Palestinian state once Palestinians win a Nobel Prize in science. That's the best resolution for the conflict. It would be fun, like, hey guys, I'm gonna give a basic requirement, then you'll get your state. Christian Prince said the Quran says men's orgasms in Jannah last 70 years. Is that true? Well, that wouldn't be in the Quran.
I'm not sure if he actually said that, but that's not in the Quran. No.
Yeah. So maybe there's a Christian Prince has access to sources that we don't have access to. So we rely on Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim and so on. So yeah, I'd have to check that out. Tate and Sneeko Tate and Sneeko are fake Islamic converts. They are only to scam people and make money. Neither Tate nor Sneeko will ever allow their sisters to marry a Muslim man. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's just, hey, someone struck a deal with them, or hey, we want to get some supporters to support us in all our debauchery and stuff like that. We want a bunch of people who are going to support us no matter what, just because we say we're Muslims now. Or if it's, so I don't know if it's a total grift, or if these guys just fell for some Dawa nonsense. Don't know. With them in their cases, I leaned. It seems like a grift. It seems like they're just doing it for some ulterior motive.
Yeah, and Tristan Tate also admitted that he was offered like benefits and stuff to convert to Islam publicly, and he rejected it, and thereby basically implied that his brother may have gotten a similar offer and accepted it. So,
and I've known 2 Arab Christian pastors who were offered. One said they just told him, name your price, and the requirement was you have to convert to Islam and then write a book about how, after examining the Quran and the Bible, you concluded that the Quran is the word of God. And they said, do that. And he said he was approached by guys from Egypt who made this offer to him. And another Arab Christian pastor I know says guys walked up to him and they handed him a Quran, and inside was a note saying, convert to Islam and make it public and say it's because of all the evidence, and we will give you $2 million.
Nice.
And so these things do happen.
Solid deal.
You don't know when these things are happening, because it could just be someone who's a dope. But I have to say, if they're willing to hand out millions of dollars for this stuff, you're kind of a dope if you convert without getting that check.
Yeah.
Goat Hub says, just in, the Super Goat V2 is now on sale. Use code Big Booty Billy Goats. Anonymous says, we pray for Palestine at my church. You should pray for Palestine. And I just want to be clear, when we're talking about crushing Hamas, it's not, oh, we want nothing but harm to fall upon Palestine. We believe there's no hope for Palestine as long as they keep propping up terrorists who think they can destroy Israel. You got to crush those. You got to crush those guys who are terrorists for Palestine to ever have a chance at any point in the future. So this is not us. I hate Palestine and I want it nuked or something like that. It's not. It's you guys they're on the wrong side of some of these issues. You're not getting Israel back. You're not powerful enough. So you need to move forward like everyone else has ever. I mean, guys, think about the parallels, right? It was a very similar situation when the British controlled India, and then the British were leaving. And they have this big issue. Wait a minute, there's Muslims there and there's Hindus there. There's some Christians caught in there as well. But the main groups are Muslims and Hindus. And what are we going to do? Are we going to put everything under Hindu control? How are we going to avoid a bunch of Muslims getting killed? Are we going to put things under Muslim control? What are we going to do here? And the solution was, okay, we're going to make this spot, and that's going to be called Pakistan, and this place, that's going to still be India, and Muslims are going to have control here, and Hindus are going to have control here. What happened? There were people who were displaced. There were Muslims who were in the India section who moved to Pakistan because they didn't want to be under Hindu control. There were lots of Hindus who were in the Pakistan region who said, we're getting out of here. And there were people who stayed in those areas. So guess what? Some people wanted to move. We do not want to be under the control of these other people that we're worried are going to do us harm. So they move. Guys, that happens over and over and over again in history. You get down to the aftermath of World War II, and the nations that controlled that land, because they controlled it after the Ottoman Empire was defeated, said, we can't have the Jews under the control of these guys who openly admit they want to exterminate them. So we're going to divide it up. We're going to give this little piece of land to the Jews to control, and the Arabs can control this other part of land. How is that the worst, most evil thing anyone has ever heard of today? And if you say that is, how are you not also encouraging Hindus in Pakistan to just launch terrorist attacks regularly?
Yeah, I don't even get it. Like it's a completely different thing to pray for people or hope that they get all the best. I don't think that.
Well, you don't pray.
I don't hate.
You're an atheist.
Yeah, but from my perspective, I don't hate these people. I don't hate the
I don't hate him either.
Palestinians, the Arabs. I don't think that they should all be crushed or anything like that. So the way I see it is that Hamas is absolutely vile. It needs to be eradicated, made sure that they never emerge again. That said, you can be at war with a people without, hating the entire population, right? You can hope the best for them while keeping in mind the necessity of taking out the
Mhm.
political entity that is in charge of them. That doesn't mean you have to hate them or anything
Yeah,
like that.
guys, and I know there are people who want nothing but the worst for Hamas and so on. Look, guys, if you can
I
say,
do.
yeah, I know lots of people do it, and it makes sense. Say, look, these are horribly evil, violent people, and so on. I'm not in that position because even when I see these guys, I'm like, okay, these guys are horrible, evil, violent, doing horrible things to people. Guess what? I was like that too. I got a second chance, so I would love for these guys to get a second chance. But what is the second chance? It's turn yourself in, renounce your ways, and help Israel clean up the mess that you caused by exposing the guys who aren't turning themselves in. Until everyone has turned themselves in. That's the best. That's the best case scenario. All the terrorists renounce their terrorist ways, give it up, turn themselves in, and face whatever judgment is enforced by Israel. That's the best you can do. Guess what? That's what I would love to see. I don't believe I'm going to see that. And so, apart from Hamas having a change of mind and turning themselves in, the best thing that can happen is Israel crushes them. So those are the best options. Just letting them get away with it, which is what you want, Anonymous. Just, yeah, they did it, but let them get away with it. Send a message that if you kill a bunch of our people and then you go hide, we'll give up because a bunch of college students are saying, it's genocide. So we'll just stop going after the terrorists who killed our people and still have our people held as hostages. That's moronic and insane and idiotic. And that's actually, you Anonymous, are not helping Palestine right now. You think you are. You're not. You want to keep the endless cycle of violence going.
Exactly.
We don't. We want it to stop. We want this endless cycle of violence to stop. And the cycle of violence does not stop if Israel stops going after Hamas. It doesn't stop. That encourages it. That encourages, hey, we can keep killing them. We can keep killing them, and they will give up. They will give up coming after us. Horrible message, very stupid. And that's what keeps the cycle going. If Israel crushes Hamas and sends a clear message to future generations of terrorists, you're not getting away with it. That is a much better message. And that
if you actually care about lives, about human lives on either side, you should probably hope that Hamas is completely crushed, because Hamas has been running the Gaza Strip for 15 years, for more than that, for almost 20 years, and they did nothing except brainwashed little children and teach the population nothing except hate and violence. They raised children with hate. They told their people to just keep making babies to breed because they must raise armies to go and fight the Jews and kill the Zionists and take the Al-Aqsa and so on. This is what Hamas did for 20 years. What do you think will happen when this war is ended prematurely and you just let them be in charge again? What do you think will happen within the next 5-10 years? You think things will suddenly just go very well and those people will have peace? No, there will be more massacres. There will be worse massacres, and Israel will say, we told you this would happen. And Israel just doesn't want to do that anymore because they listened to the world for quite too long and they suffered the consequences of it. And I'm sure that nobody in Israel, nobody on the political spectrum wants to go with that anymore. Like the opposition, everyone agrees we must fight this war. We must defeat Hamas. We must be done with this once and for all. And I would like to see like those people of Hamas change and become better guys. But at the same time, right now, I would rather just see all of them completely eradicated.
Yeah, you see what AP is saying? He wants the terrorists destroyed here. And I don't see how letting the terrorists off the hook helps anyone, not the Israelis, not the Palestinians, not anyone. end the cycle of violence. Say no to that. Give up that stuff. Here we have Blue Moon here. Oh my goodness, he looks and sounds like a goat. Talking about scythe talk, we don't need rude comments about people's appearance. He has a little, he has that is kind of a, anyone could grow that though. Anyone could grow the little thing. Yeah. And by the way, that's not what a goat sounds like. He doesn't sound anything like a goat. This is what a goat sounds like. That does not sound anything like scythe talk. So yeah. Respond. So when we talk about his stuff, mention his stupid, insanely idiotic points. Quran surahs 684, 86, 521 affirm prophet's lineage and a blessed land, echoing Genesis 28, 13 to 14 promise to Jacob's descendants. These all tie together. The Quran is affirming. So keep in mind, the Quran just affirms the Bible, the biblical narrative in general, but then repeats a bunch of the biblical narrative. And then how do we get to people saying, no, they're not, they were never there. They came along in the 20th century. It's absolutely insane.
Yes.
I wonder if this guy is actually aware of how stupid his argument is, or he's seriously a bit less intelligent. I say a bit less intelligent.
Definitely.
Not than Ali Dawah. We've concluded that he is more intelligent than Ali Dawah.
I can't think of any Muslim apologist out there at the moment who is dumber than Ali Dawah. I'm sorry.
It's just weird because the dumber you are, the more popular you become.
Yeah.
The word children has come up a lot today. It almost sounds like a summoning ritual for a Kikachu. Yeah. you can imagine, Dan, what? Did he say children? He said children.
Where are the children? I came here because of... I heard children.
I'm getting an erection. Hey, Marie said, the proof that Islam is true. Muhammad was a scholar. If what comes out of your butt is scholarly, Jesus is king. Yeah, that's he's gotten some amazing proofs here. The cow is greater than Allah.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need to go with Israel being stronger than Allah. Even a cow would be. Have to give it to Saif. His edits are funny. Lol. Yeah, he is. He makes well edited videos and stuff. It's just, it's the same. It's the same thing with Dawah. They'll say stupid things, but dress it up, make it sound persuasive rhetorically, even if it's complete nonsense. And you can apply that with videos and add whooshing sounds and stuff to make your points, your stupid points, sound better to people who are too dumb to actually pay attention to them. But
he's much more unintentionally funny than he is intentionally funny.
Yeah, he's both intentionally and unintentionally funny, but he's more unintentionally funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't they think that Moses is Mary's, the mother of Jesus' brother? Maybe that's why he thinks it's a short time for the chosen people, lol, 2 generations. Yeah, maybe point. That's why he thinks it was just that generation, because it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the same time period. All right, let's watch a little more Saif talk here.
Desperate for evidence for Palestine. Just ask and inshallah I'll deliver.
If I didn't know better, which I don't, I might think that Allah never mentions the Palestinians because the Palestinians as an ethnic group hadn't been invented yet.
So because the Quran never mentioned the Russians, it doesn't mean they never existed. Is he expecting the Quran to mention every single race that ever existed? In fact, we don't care about race. And children of Israel in the Quran isn't a country or a place. It is talking about the descendant of Jacob alayhi salam, a prophet of God. And
recap, once again, said it 90 times. Those people, children of Israel, were told to conquer the land. Saif, you don't seem to disagree with that. So, I don't know. It seems like you should be agreeing with me. They were commanded to conquer the land, and the Palestinians are a thing that was invented much later, like Russians and so on. What's the problem? Why are you even responding? Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you saying, David, he's absolutely correct? In fact, he did that when I said, where's the Quran mention the children of Palestine? He says, nowhere. Right. That it's a simple point. I'm not making some tremendous point. I'm responding to a very stupid claim on social media it sounds like you agree with me. Why are you responding? You should be agreeing with me and saying David is right about everything he's ever said.
Can you go back to put on the screen what he just showed?
What? A graphic? Okay.
This one. Oh yeah, this one. Israel is
Right?
Prophet Yaqub for Abu Dawood.
That's a
He
commentary.
later reported that Abdullah ibn Abbas said a group of Jews came to the Prophet and he said to them, "Do you know that Israel is Jacob?" They said, "Yes, by Allah." He said, "O Allah, be witness." At-Tabari recorded that Abdullah ibn Abbas said that Israel means the servant of Allah. Yeah. Bad commentary here.
Pretty
The Quran doesn't mention anything
about
about
the
this.
Yeah, so he has to go to commentaries.
descendant of Jacob alayhi salam, a prophet of God. And any believer from the children of Israel is more beloved to me than any Palestinian Christian or disbeliever. And by the
You catch that, everyone?
Wait, what did he say?
Said any children of Israel, any child of Israel, descendant of Israel, who's a believer is more dear to him than any Palestinian who's not a believer. So it's not about the Palestinians. It's not about the Palestinians as a people group. It's only about the believers.
Yeah.
And so let's go back and hear that once again.
I don't even
So-
know why he's
so-
responding to any of it.
So he doesn't care about the Palestinians except the believers.
And any believer from the children of Israel is more beloved to me than any Palestinian Christian or disbeliever. And by the way, for your information, the children of Israel can also be Palestinians. Just like any person born in America is called an American. Sometimes I feel like I'm refuting children.
Which people were in the land that
That was lame. He has some good cutaways, but that one was stupid.
would eventually be called Palestine before the children of Israel conquered it? Who were the people who were conquered by the children of Israel? The Canaanites, the most pagan of all pagans. The children of Israel conquered the Canaanites. You've got two options here, my Muslim friends. Get ready to pick one. You can either say that the Canaanites were the Palestinians, in which case Allah ordered the children of Israel to conquer them, or you can say that the Palestinians came later, in which case the children of Israel were there long before the Palestinians.
Pretty simple point.
So, either the Palestinians were there first because they were the Canaanites, but Allah wanted them conquered by the children of Israel, or the Palestinians came later.
Allahu Akbar, thank you for admitting that the children of Israel aren't indigenous to the land of Palestine, but only conquered it. And the
I mean, I was pointing out that according to the
Oh my
Quran,
God.
that's exactly what happened. Oh my
This
goodness.
dude, this dude is this. I don't even know if you can begin to explain to this guy what's happening here. I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. So, children of Israel conquer the land, according to the Quran, on orders of Allah. That happened. You're talking 12th to 14th century BC. So they're there for 2,000 years before Muhammad comes along, and more than 3,000 years before you have this group called the Palestinians. How, in the name of common sense, are the Palestinians the indigenous peoples there? That's the question. All right.
answer to your question is very simple. Yes, some of the Palestinians today are the descendants of the Canaanites. And yes, we believe that the children of Israel at the time of Moses alayhi salam did conquer them. And we are happy with that. The children of Israel who believed in Moses
You see, we're happy that they conquered
So,
them.
alayhi salam
at least this guy admits that he's not that he doesn't really care about Palestinians. To him, this is just about Muslims. So that's okay. That's cool. It's good that he admits it.
and followed the Torah during his time are true believers. And I pray that inshallah I can meet them in paradise with the company of all the prophets of God. We really thought to achieve something.
You already became a disbeliever by denying what Allah says and basically denouncing what Allah said. So it's too late for you. You're not going there. You're not going there.
Yep,
Too late.
yep.
And had some crazy gotcha moments. No, my friend, you just proved to us that you have no clue what we Muslims believe in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you. And let me put this concept of Palestine being a new country to rest.
What did he just say? Palestine being a new country to rest? He's about to destroy it. He's about to destroy it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
by using a bunch of passages which refer to the Philistines, and the 5 cities of the Philistines, which are not
Oh,
Israel,
oh boy.
and so there are references to Palestine, and so therefore he's concluding that this is about Israel. Guess what? It's places like Gaza. The land of the Philistines were places like Gaza. That was one of the 5 cities. So what was it? It was Gaza, Gath, Ekron, Ashdod, and Ashkelon. Those are the 5 cities of the Philistines.
The invaders.
Yeah. And the dominant theory has always been that these were Greek invaders. So they come from the Greek Isles and mainland Greece and so on, and were settling on the coastline there. Guess what? That's not Israel. Israel was fighting these guys. There is a theory that says these were actually an indigenous group. I would guess it's probably a mixture. You probably had Greek invaders and then they're mixing with some indigenous group there. Guess what? It's not Israel. I mean, it's not the land that Palestinians are now calling Palestine, which includes from the river to the sea. That's not. You don't get that.
It's not.
It's not that. It's not the land from the river to the sea. In fact, it's mostly the land that is currently called Gaza. So if you wanted to say that's the land and that goes back to the Philistine, guess what? These aren't bunches of people, both among the Israelis and the Palestinians, probably have some DNA from Philistines back there, because lots of people were mingling with each other for a very long time. Nothing to do with the issue we're talking about. Like,
nobody even knows what happened. They were a cultural minority that became completely irrelevant after a while. Disappeared from history.
Yeah,
and
the people in what are now Israel, those were the Canaanites. That's who they came and fought. What you're calling the Palestinians as the Philistines, they're in a different spot. They're in a different spot over here.
Yeah,
and he's gonna act like this is a refutation.
Yeah. They were mentioned in Egyptian sources, and there the theory is that they came down and were attacking the Egyptians, and the Egyptians, after fighting them off and settling with them, gave them the right to just settle in a small coastal area in what was later named after them, Palestine. But these are all just theories. This is a completely insignificant population.
Yeah, and dude, again, if you're saying, you see, that's Palestine, because you did have people who called it Palestine, and eventually the Romans just go with this name. If you want to say that's Palestine and those are the great, fine. It's a one little tiny piece of land that isn't in modern Israel, except Ashkelon. Ashkelon's there. So if you want to say, hey, we got to get just think about how insane this would be if you wanted to be historically accurate in your ridiculous moronic claim. The city of Ashkelon needs to be given to the Palestinians because the Philistines, which is loosely connected to the name Palestine, originally had that over 3,000 years ago. I mean, it's like idiotic. It's idiotic nonsense. Okay, but let's
we shouldn't even be entertaining this. But yeah, go ahead.
I'll take a couple of super chats to clear our heads of the stupidity. Just sending my favorite Mossad agents a small bonus. Seriously, thank you guys for everything you do. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The God of Israel is the one that exists, so of course Allah ain't got nothing on him. That's true. Muslims. Aaron was Mary's brother, Uncle Moses. AP, will you respond to Yusuf Mullan email to you about proving Islam true? He is following a script from Hamza Kamali from Basira Institute. You know what this is in reference to? Did you get an email about this?
I have no idea. I don't know. Have to check.
Oh, so I don't know if that's saying you've gotten the email, or would you respond to an email if one was sent to you? I don't know what this is. But AP will check.
Most likely not, but I will check. Yeah.
Wow, and I thought I was dumb. Yeah, just in virtue of the fact that you think you're dumb, that's a sign of intelligence.
Yes, it actually
It's
is.
when
That's true.
like who's dumber? Someone who thinks, am I dumb? Or someone who is like really dumb and thinks they're smart.
Yeah. For example, I'm the smartest person in the world. Yeah.
That's true. One of you make a Discord server, please.
Inshallah.
I can't imagine a scenario where I do that. Unless someone was running it from me and I just had to jump on occasionally. Let's see. Ever considered that Mu was a minor character and Jay is half right, that Mu was an Ebionite inspired Arab that got blown up by the Abbasids later? Yeah, I consider that possibility. Matter of fact, it's definitely true to some extent that the figure we read about in the Muslim sources, Muhammad, is heavily exaggerated by in his significance by the time you get to the Hadith literature. Because in the Hadith, he's going around, he's challenging all the empires. All the empires are scared of him because he's so, they know he's a prophet and they're going through okay, that's obviously made up because we've got records from the time no one's ever heard of the guy. Muhammad's supposedly going around conquering and challenging everyone, and no one's ever heard of him. No one cares about him. You can't even find Mecca on the ancient maps and so on. It doesn't seem to have been a significant place, and Muhammad doesn't seem to be nearly as significant as he was in the Muslim sources. So, yeah, I think it was exaggerated what he was actually doing. Just to what extent? Just what extent? I'm not sure. But I do have I can't buy the idea that he's just completely made up. So,
yeah, I don't buy your theory.
Yeah. How bad do each of you think atheism is for society? You go first, AP.
I think that everything can be good and bad within a certain range of things. That's it. I don't know. It's a wild question. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, my actual view is, I don't think an individual being an atheist is bad for society. If it's like society becomes atheistic, I don't know. I don't think it goes the way lots of like the new atheists think that's going to go. I think you're going to lose any sort of common ground in society, and you're going to break up into a bunch of groups that are all have different individual good things, and they sort of idolize them, and then they all start going off on each other. I think that's what you end up with. So,
well, I mean, it could be prevented. It could be like in an ideal world, we could enforce state atheism and then
crush everyone and make people be good.
All places of religious worship, and then execute everyone who believes in a religion, and then force everyone to be good, and say we're doing this for your own good. Mm-hmm.
That's AP's perfect world.
Yeah. However, yeah. Anyway, I find funny. Tim Pool just made like tweets yesterday or so, where he made one tweet which said, "Believing in God should be illegal," and then he made another tweet like within the same hour, which was "It should be illegal not to believe in God." And just looking at the reactions there. And I'm not sure what he did with that, but it was kind of a funny test.
Yeah, it might have been a little experiment there.
Yeah.
Jack Ray says, thank you. You're welcome. Dr. Zulan says, it's 5 a.m. Spend this shekels on Zionist propaganda. Will do, from the Mossad. This message will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3. Dreams Walker says, I don't have much space here, but I just wanted to ask you if the... Wait, what? It just stops. Oh, he continues here in a second. Hang on. Okay. Christian says, I got ripped off on the Atheist channel last night. Can hear the goat twice. Does the goat have a name? You want to hear the goat twice because you got ripped off on AP's channel?
Oh, yeah. He said, David, can you make the goat sound? And then you were already gone. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's one. I already played it earlier, but here's two back to back in case you missed it earlier, Christian. There you go. I made up for the horrible disrespect and persecution and, let's face it, genocide you experienced on AP's channel.
And to be frank, ethnic cleansing. Yeah.
AP, have you read the Bible enough to be able to pass a pop quiz on it at any time?
I could try. I did take some before, and I wasn't bad. In fact, I was scoring better than most Americans. That's what the test
Yeah,
was
I would.
about.
That's what I would. That's what I would say. Just based on your videos where you actually cover stuff, you seem to know quite a bit more than most Americans would know.
Yeah.
And sad to say, more than lots of Christians would know.
I must say, sad to say, I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So Dreams Walker posted that comment a second ago with the ... and then love to y'all. And I had a foul mouth. Sorry, AP. Yeshua reigns. And then Gin Acid.
What? Don't apologize.
I don't understand. What is this random stuff?
Okay.
Hey, here you go. How to become smart like Allah. Read Quran and believe. That's true.
Huh.
That's true. That's true. All right, now let's go to Saif Talk, who's about to break down the history of and show us that Palestine was there. Powerful.
According to
And he's got his book here by Nur Masalha.
Palestine, a 4,000-year history by Nordin Masalha, page 56, it says, a cognate of the name Palestine, Peleset, is found on 5 inscriptions as referring to the settlement of a seafaring people along the southern Palestine.
A seafaring people, yeah.
Yes,
You're
exactly,
talking about the Philistines. And
Yeah,
as I pointed out, yeah, the dominant theory is that they were seafaring people who came to the land, and there is a minority position that they were some indigenous group, and that the people who said they were seafaring were just wrong.
Palestinian coast from the mid-12th century BC during the
mid-12th century. So Israel's already there. This is in a different area, the area of the Philistines. Guys, when you read the Bible and it's talking about Saul and David fighting the Philistines, yeah, that's who they were fighting. This is after the Canaanites. This is after fighting the Canaanites. Israel has a land. The Philistines have an area where they have 5 main cities. That's what this is talking about. We're not talking. What are Muslims saying? The river to the sea. That's Palestine. Okay, this is not affirming that.
reign of Ramses II and III of the 19th Egyptian dynasty. The 3,200-year-old documents from Ramses III, including an inscription based 1150 BC at the mortuary temple of Ramses III at the Medinet Habu temple in Luxor, one of the best preserved temples of Egypt, refers to the Palisade among those who fought against Ramses III, who reigned from 1186 to 1155 BC.
And that's talking about the Philistines.
All right, Saif, but what in the world does this have to do with
Nothing.
the Palestine of today? Because those people mentioned in Egyptian sources very vaguely and in tiny fragments, the Pelishit or Pelisit, which corresponds to the Pelishit or the Pelishtim, are people that you don't know much of anymore, who left very little, that a tiny population that were, by the way, the enemies of the Israelites when Israel was a thing back then, that they fought with. That's what it was. It was an ancient population that eventually became insignificant and was lost in the graveyard of history. And it was only much later, after a Jewish revolt in the 2nd century, that, what is it, 2nd century? Bar Kokhba revolt.
Bar Kokhba, yeah, 2nd century.
2nd century, when the region was suddenly named after that ancient population once again. Okay, by the way, Herodotus and Greeks did refer to the place as Palestine or as Philistia in certain sources, and they did describe just that little coastal area. And it was then under the Romans in the 2nd century that name was suddenly applied in a broader way to Syria, Palestina, to detach it entirely from Judea or Judea as an insult to the Jewish people. But at that point, when that naming happened, those Philistines that you're talking about were long gone. There was no trace of them at all. So the naming of that land has nothing at all to do with those people, except that it is basically a tribute to them in order to just insult the Jews. That's it. And then much later, in the 20th century, you have the Arabs who referred to himself as Arabs or Muslims or some as Christians or something else. They suddenly live in a reality where the British come and take over this land, and the British call it Mandate for Palestine, later Mandatory Palestine, because European nations have known that place as Palestine, and Palestine was to them synonymous with the land where the Jews live, or the land where the Jews lived. They call it Palestine, and since these Arabs are now striving to become their own people, or have independence, or work with other Arab nations, they adopt this naming from the Europeans, from the British, and say, oh, they call this Palestine. Okay, we shall also call it Palestine. We shall also go with that. And then throughout the 20th century, over the last 100 years, the idea develops into, hold on, we are not just the Palestinian Arabs, we are actually the Palestinians. Because up until 1948, the Jews were also known as Palestinians. Yes, it's in the sources. You can find it everywhere. The Jews were known as the Palestinians. The newspapers, the books, everyone was referring to the Jews in the region as the Palestinians, the Palestinian Jews. The Palestine national football team was a Jewish team. That's what it was. It was only in the 60s that this became the most popular opinion among the Arab population, who are Arabs, not original indigenous people, to refer to themselves as Palestinians. They basically hijacked this identity and took it all from the Europeans who named it that. So they actually took even their own name, their own new national identity from Europeans. Europeans invented it and they took it.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah. Okay.
Apollos, a Latin poet who died around 19 BC in Rome, said this in one of his poems. Wait till how the white dove, sacred to the Syrians, flies unharmed through the crowded cities of Palestine. How Tyre looks out from its towers over the vast sea roads, the first that learned to trust her ships to the winds. The cities of Palestine. This is clear-cut evidence for the existence of a
The cities of Palestine. Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, Ekron, Gaza, not Israel.
land named Palestine. According to Britannica.com, the word Palestine derives from Philistia,
Oh, shocker.
the name given by Greek writers to the land of the Philistines, who in the 12th century BCE occupied a
Ooh, they're
small pocket
occupiers.
of land
They're
on the southern
occupiers.
coast between modern-day Tel
Now, look at what he's saying. In the
Hold
12th
on,
century BCE, occupied a small pocket of land on the
actually-
southern coast.
Oh my God.
Right.
Look what it says after
Right,
that.
what
Look
Gaza
it says.
is now. Between
Look what it-
modern between modern Tel Aviv, Yaffo, and Gaza. Right.
Look what the next sentence says now.
The name was revived by the Romans in the 2nd
What?
century CE in Syria, Palestina, right? That's what you just
It
said.
was what? It was what? It was what? Revived?
By the
Revived?
Romans.
So it was dead? It was gone because it had no
Yeah.
meaning anymore? It didn't
Yep.
refer to anything real? It
Mhm.
was revived? Oh, interesting. Huh.
Designating the southern portion of the province of Syria and made its way thence into Arabic, where it has been used to describe the region at least since the early Islamic era. This is exactly what we keep saying, and I'm going to refute them by saying exactly what they say. Now, what's crazy is he probably doesn't understand what the heck he's talking about and thinks that this is somehow referring to the land from the river to the sea. No, Israel had a country during the time of the Philistines. The Philistines had a little territory that is now what is called Gaza, right? It's that area. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
He is basically reading what we are saying here, and he doesn't even understand it. I'm pretty sure he doesn't
He
understand.
doesn't
what he's
understand what the heck he's reading.
Yeah.
It's how many times have we seen this syndrome over and over again with Daniel Hakikic? They put things up on the screen and they can't understand the words they're reading. Even Muhammad Hijab with, look, you see, this proves the 100-to-1 ratio. He can't even understand the title of the article that he's reading. It's, guys, just because you believe your prophet was illiterate doesn't mean you have to act like you're incapable of understanding words off a page. Okay.
That's a good point. Good point.
And guys, I guarantee if you go to the comments, it's, oh, this destroys everything David would have. He says the destruction of them, they've been humiliated. My goodness.
You see this
and Gaza.
screenshot. It says they revived the name. This means it was always the name, you see.
Pocket of land on the southern coast between modern Tel Aviv and Gaza.
The name was revived by the Romans in the 2nd century CE in Syria, Palestine, designating the southern portion of the province of Syria, and made its way thence into Arabic, where it has been used to describe the region at least since the early Islamic era.
Okay.
According to the Vatican Library, we have the
He's still
manuscripts
going.
of Claudius Ptolemy's maps. And of course it says Palestinis,
Oh, way over there?
meaning Palestine. So Ptolemy, who lived in the 2nd century CE, also called the land Palestine. I don't know how much evidence you need. Even Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was from Gaza, Palestine. Subhanallah, why did he feel the need to make this video?
Why did he feel the need to make this video in response to the insane, idiotic claim that the Palestinians are the original inhabitants of a place called Palestine, which is from the river to the sea, and that the Jews came along in the 20th century and stole the land? Why did he respond to that stupid claim?
You know what's funny, by the way? Little known fact. When the Zionist movement basically, took over the regions, especially when Israel was, when the modern state of Israel was declared, much of the region here that is called Palestine, so the coastal regions, was not properly inhabitable. It was malaria infested. There are reports of even in the Ottoman era, they would place soldiers there as guards, and the soldiers would get sick within 10 days and die. Or the British would go there, and people would very quickly get malaria and die in horrible circumstances. The population was was in trouble. They didn't know how to handle this this plague, and the Jews come and start taking over and actually start fighting the malaria and slowly getting rid of it, cleansing it, and making that whole place inhabitable again. And the thanks for that, the gratefulness from their part on their behalf is, okay, give it to us. It belongs to us. Belongs to us. Well, we see what you guys did with it, right?
Yeah. Pretty airtight case here, Saif.
Not an Arab, not an Israelite.
Oh, wait. No, he's saying, I have no business talking about this. Watch this. Back this up.
Know how much evidence you need. Even Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was from Gaza, Palestine. Subhanallah, why did he feel the need to make this video? He is not an Arab, not an Israelite, and of course not from that part of the world. And instead of making videos calling people there to accept Jesus alayhi salam as the true Messiah, he is busy.
Wait, didn't I do an entire interview with a Jew who believes that Jesus is the Messiah and post that? That's weird.
Attacking the only people who believe that Jesus alayhi salam is a true prophet and the true Messiah.
We're attacking the people who believe that Jesus is a prophet and the true Messiah. And what do you mean by any of that stuff there, Saif? Saif,
why
let me
go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask you, Saif. If AP says he doesn't believe in Muhammad, and I say I do believe in Muhammad, I believe that Muhammad was a devout Christian who preached Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity, and defended the Trinity to the death, and then later people completely corrupted his messages and changed it into the monstrosity that is Islam. But I believe in Muhammad, but his teachings were corrupted. He was a devout Christian. He was a devout Christian preacher. He was a pastor. He was a Christian scholar. And then later people completely changed the message and completely destroyed it. Would you say, oh, I'm on your side now? We're best buddies.
Best buddies.
And this is the same guy. I don't care if you don't believe in Muhammad, then you're an unbeliever. And they're, why are you attacking us? We're all on the same side here. We all believe in Jesus. Come on, dude. It's pathetic.
Don't be ridiculous.
And wait, what did he say right before then?
He doesn't even understand. Like, it's very obvious. We are doing this for the money, doing this for the shekels. Like, why are you asking this stupid question?
Yeah. What did he say right before that? Hang on. No, right before he mentioned you. What was he saying?
How much evidence you need? Even Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was from Gaza.
Yeah, it was the claim that I'm not from there, so I should keep my mouth shut.
Why did he feel the need to make this video? He is.
Why, since the entire... Think about this. You're not from there, so why are you talking about it? Is that what you say to all these moronic college students at Harvard and Columbia and Princeton who are acting like complete idiots? But what? You're not from there. Why are you talking about it?
That's good.
Is that what you say, Saif? Hey, the rest of you and the rest of the world, stop talking about this. You're not from there.
Alhamdulillah.
Can I not be about ending an endless cycle of genocide?
About.
Can I not be about this cycle where you guys are going to keep trying to completely wipe out Israel? Can I not be against that?
Nope.
That's what you want to do. That's the stated goal of Hamas. That's the stated goal of tons of people. Even Sheikh Yasser Qadi believes Israel is going to be wiped out, and then it's prophesied in the Quran. I can't be against that if I'm not from there. This endless struggle for genociding the people there. And since you guys are completely incapable of carrying out the genocide that you want to carry out, it's gonna be endless retaliation, and Gaza is gonna keep getting bombed to rubble because of you guys. Can I not be against that? Do I have to keep my mouth shut about that? No. Yep. I'll talk about whatever I want, and I can be against that. So give up your stupid prophet, give up your genocidal intentions towards Israel, and then Israel won't keep bombing you down to rubble. Everyone wins, except the ones who want genocide.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
Not an Arab, not an Israelite, and of course,
like
not from that part of the world. And instead of making videos calling people there to accept Jesus alayhi salam as the true Messiah, he is busy attacking the only people who believes that Jesus alayhi salam is a true prophet and the true Messiah. Just confirm.
He really needs to correct the way he says Jesus.
He just says Jesus.
What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran. And never will the Jews and the Christians approve of you until you follow their religion.
Look, you see how evil these people are. They will never approve of you until you follow their religion. What does this guy say? I don't care about you if you're not a believer. You're not believers. I don't care. I don't care about the Palestinian. This is not a believer. And then you see the Jews and Christians say you have to follow their religion. By the way, when do Jews say that? When do Jews say everyone has to follow our religion? When is that?
No, Jews never said that.
Yeah, they're just like they never said Ezra's the son of Allah.
On the contrary, Jews have been saying for at least 2,000 years now that that they shouldn't try to turn people into Jews. And when somebody wants to join Judaism, they should basically say, "Why would you want to become a Jew?" and put a burden on yourself. And it has to be a very serious thing. But here, the Quran says, "Oh, they want you to be one of them."
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't get to. I talked to some Jews about, hey, you know the Quran says that you guys call Ezra the son of God. They're all like, what? Like they had no clue. They had no idea the Quran says this. And I was talking to some Jews because I wanted to make a video about this, like asking Jews about why they worship Ezra. And then them being confused. And they were like, the Jews, they were like, because I said, hey, I want to go around asking the question, why do you guys worship Ezra as the son of Allah? Because that's the claim in the Quran and the Hadith. And one of them said, a better question would be, hey, can you name anything you know about Ezra other than maybe you have a friend named Ezra? And he's saying they don't place that kind of significance. Like they know that Ezra is like a biblical name and so on. That's it. That's what they know. That's what they know about Ezra. And yet, according to the Quran, this is like at the judgment day, the Jews are going to be asked, hey, what did you worship? We worship Ezra. We worship Ezra. And then they're going to be punished for worshiping Ezra. And yet oh gosh, I don't know what to do about this religion, man.
Indeed, the guidance of Allah is the only guidance. If you were to follow their desires, after what has come to you of knowledge, you would have against Allah no protector or helper. I just want to say this to my brothers and sisters.
What's up?
You know what's so? Whenever I hear Muslims talk like this and quote the Quran when it acts like, "Oh, and you have the knowledge,"
yes, the disbelievers,
knowledge,
and the unbelievers,
and we know the truth.
It's like
it's so stupid. It's like so intellectually low. Like Judaism has an incredible history of gathering, studying, preserving, exchanging knowledge. Christianity has developed an incredible history of defining and properly understanding the tenets of the belief and analyzing the biblical tradition and history and scripture and all of that. Islam is completely ignorant. Islam is so ridiculously ignorant. Islam has no clue. The Quran's author, the Quran has no idea. Muslims have no idea about the contents of the Bible, about the history of the Bible, about the history of the Abrahamic people, and so on. And then they try to enter this discussion while knowing little to nothing at all and acting like, oh, we have the true knowledge. It's like a bunch of like professors talking together, and then this little stupid 6-year-old kid appears and is like, "Oh, I know everything. Why don't you listen to me, you stupid idiots? You just don't agree with me because you don't know, because I have been given the true knowledge." That's what Islam appears like. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, seriously, just look at Saif Talk. Look at the arrogance on his face. And what does this guy know? I mean, what does he know?
Nothing.
What is he contributing to anything? It's like. It's like they just try to wear us down with stupidity. Like we're just going to get too tired of responding to the endless stupidity, and that's their goal. We'll say so many stupid things that these guys just get sick of responding, and then we say, "You see, they're scared to respond."
Like this guy actually thinks, he actually thinks that he's knowledgeable, and his followers, the Muslim crowds, they actually think that they're knowledgeable. There are currently 2,000 people watching here. If we put all of us, we on the screen and everyone here in the chat, and tested our knowledge on the Bible and these basic things, Saif would probably score at the very, very bottom of these 2,000 people with his knowledge. His audience would probably score lower on average, considering that they'd
be in the negative. They'd be in the negative,
yeah. So these people are the least knowledgeable people out there,
and they are less like they know it all
than the 2,000 people who are watching here right now, and they are acting like they are they know it all and they are smart. And it's painful. It's probably good for these guys when they it probably feels good to them, but Saif, believe me, and Muslims, believe me, it feels very painful for the rest of us, for the 2,000 of us.
It's pretty terrible, pretty terrible. All right, let's let him wrap up here. And then...
in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, protect you.
Hey, look, he just said the land of Palestine, then he shows Jerusalem. As if his stuff just showed where they're talking about the land of the Philistines, not Jerusalem.
You would have against Allah no protector or helper. I just want to say this to my brothers and sisters in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you,
and he shows
Israel.
You, I mean, he shows Jerusalem.
Patience. And inshallah, you will be rewarded. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you victory over all your enemies. And for anybody else watching this video,
not the land of the Philistines.
God is one, and God is not a human being.
God is one gremlin-shaped monster.
Yeah.
And who sends the most obvious false prophet in history as his final prophet. Yeah. Welcome to Islam.
So good job, Saif. You just showed us historical records of the coastal region, the small, tiny coastal region.
Good job, coastal region.
of this land that were referred to as Philistia or as Palestine later on, and then continued from there, claiming that all of this land is somehow, including Jerusalem, is somehow that very same land. That doesn't make any sense, and I don't expect anything at this point at all.
Yep, pretty terrible. And guys, I make a video making a simple point. I leave open multiple avenues of response, and what do we get? Sheer stupidity and ignorance and posturing like you've responded to something when, I mean, the only relevant points he was making were in agreement with us, and everything else was complete nonsense. Welcome to Dawa, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's burn through a couple of super chats. We got to head out in the next couple of minutes. Already gone longer than I anticipated because I'm leaving for a conference very early in the morning. Israel will destroy Allah like how in 1998 the Undertaker threw mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table. Yes, that is one of the most famous matches of all time.
Never heard of it.
Dreamswalker says, waste my last penny to say you are cute, lovely guys. Have we ever been called cute before?
I don't know.
It's usually not how we're described.
I'm often called cute.
Yeah, me too. Everyone says, ooh, David's so cute.
When I walk in the street, everyone is like, oh, you're so cute.
Hey, cutie. Yep, that's what I said. Canine Pilot says, the Jews have been deemed oppressors in the name of social justice. Thus, Hamas and the Palestinians can do no wrong as the victims of oppression. Yeah, that is an ongoing thing. An ongoing problem in the world is now whoever the oppressors are automatically wrong, and whoever the victims are automatically right. And therefore, if you can convince people that you're the victims of the oppressors, anything goes. And that's an issue. Wasn't it Adolf Hitler and Amin Husseini who created a modern definition of Palestine to destroy three parties, communist, Jews, something else?
No, not really. It was in development at that time, but he didn't for most of his time he didn't use the term Palestine at all. I mean, Husseini. Hitler did use it more, but that was because of the European history of it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they can be credited for that. They can be credited for a plan to exterminate the Jews in the future, which Hitler promised to the dear Grand Mufti. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Philistines in the Hebrew scriptures is always referring to invaders, not a people. Again, Philistines, I mean, it gets a little, it can be used as an insult and so on later on. But Philistines are again, those people in those five cities. So we know what they're referring to. Nothing to do with today's Palestinian conflict at all. And it's just stupidity to try and defend the claim that Palestinians need to get the land from the river to the sea because the name is loosely attached to some group of ancient Greek invaders of the like. Where are you getting this from? That's insane. That's insane reasoning, and that's what we're told. We all have to agree with.
You're just Palestinian.
Eyes, you ain't no. Solitary Emmy watching AP yesterday's stream. AP, will you not say GD because it's really bad? We hold God in the highest regard. To hear a friend say that, so quit saying GD, AP.
It's hard for me sometimes to when I get a little bit too passionate to hold back.
Yeah, AP gets more of a potty mouth depending on how enraged he is about terrorists and stuff.
Yeah. But I try my best. I understand that and I respect that, and I feel the respect and the need to.
You don't care about your feelings.
Abide by that stuff. I don't really. I wouldn't really care, but I respect the sentiment, which is why I try. Yeah.
Let's see. Aisha was 9 years old. That's true. Where does 72 virgins verse come from? That's not in the Quran. The Quran mentions the Houris, the ladies of paradise and so on. The claims about 72 or 70 virgins, that comes from the Hadith and from the commentaries.
72?
Muhammad Hijab's chesticles says, anyone who posts images of the Palestinian coin are implicitly saying that land belongs to the British, which is objectively true. Yeah, indeed, indeed, indeed.
Yeah, the coin says "Land of Israel" on it.
Yeah, and guys, is that still the pinned thing on your Twitter page? Is that still the pinned thing? Yeah, guys, if you want to know what we're talking about, yeah, people are circulating a coin which mentioned Palestine. Says, you see, there was a Palestinian state. That is not. That was from the British Mandate of Palestine, from the British who controlled it.
And the British Mandate with the League of Nations, which came before the United Nations, agreed in their 1922 meetings and conferences and at other times, that the land Palestine shall also be known in accordance with the Jews for whom a homeland will be built as Eretz Israel, which means, in translated, land of Israel, which is why it was officially on the coins and everywhere else. So that's that.
I exchanged pleasantries with a rabid anti-Semite after Mass in regard to October 7th. He said I had a lot to learn and the Holocaust never happened. Later, I learned he was into flat earth theory. Yeah, there are people who have a certain personality type which is drawn to conspiracy theories. There's a reason for that. If you adopt a conspiracy theory, you feel like you've got this inside knowledge and other people don't and so on. So yeah, people who adopt conspiracy theory are usually you can usually start asking them questions to find out they believe in multiple conspiracy theories.
Yep.
In the Middle East, if a contract worker converts to Islam, they will offer you $5,000. Yeah, I don't know about that. I have heard that in Dearborn, if you're a Muslim man who convinces a Christian woman to convert and marry you, that there's a sort of a bounty system where they'll give you $10,000 for it. Don't know if that's true. I have heard that from people in the area. From Apologia, no comment. Through Christ, God fulfills his land promise to Jacob, uniting all who accept him beyond Ishmael's claim into one spiritual Israel.
You see.
Guys, I'm going to have to read through these. Want to get through these. Got to get through these in the next couple of minutes. Seven Earth, who is leaving in 8 minutes, who is currently watching my son Paley. So got to be off in 8 minutes. Yusuf, Genesis 10 speaks of the first Canaanite invasion to the Hebrew land, where they first obtained the name Philistine, found several chapters later. Commies aren't atheists. Communism is the religion. Well, you can be both. You can be both. You can be an atheist and, you know what I mean? It can be simultaneously. Yeah. And I mean, if you're taking atheist as not believing in God, then if you're a communist and you don't believe in God, you're still an atheist. Hey, D-Wood, is Confucianism atheistic? I think Confucians, AP, you may know about this. Confucians would generally be non-theistic, but some of them can believe in, because it's more about like conduct and stuff like that. But there can be, some people do believe in deities and spirits and so on.
It's more a way of life and a system for a society. It doesn't really have any proper claims on theology and all that.
Mm-hmm. Ramses the Third, that's rude. Yeah, that was pretty rude the way he put it. I want to meet you guys at Alson Wu's Ark Bar on the Gaza border. It's where the halal beer is 5%, but it's served up by gay Palestinian bears. What is this? The region was mostly malaria-infested swamps.
Yep.
You guys are great. David, have you ever gone to a... Yes, I have gone to a...
Really?
It's going to go nuclear. Oh, no, I hope it doesn't go nuclear. How can you hear this guy over and over again? I get a headache. Yeah, it's not easy. You just have to be relentless because, again, they try to wear you down with stupidity, and you just have to keep going. D-Wood, reminder that Easter is on the horizon. If you would like to do a video on its origins, as it is so debated, God bless you both. And yeah, I should put something together about the resurrection for that time. But IP is kind of the holiday guy, given the origins of the holiday.
IP too.
GigaChad Studios, unrelated to Israel, but David, what do you think of Catholics considering evangelicalism's stereotypical thoughts on Catholicism not being Christian? Yeah, I've mentioned before that I would kind of be in the Protestant camp by default just because I haven't joined an Orthodox or Catholic church or something like that. But yeah, I believe if you believe in Jesus, in his death, resurrection, divine nature, the Trinity, I think you're a Christian. If we have disagreements on some other things, I believe those are in-house debates among Christians.
Based.
Far4 says, may cheese be upon you. Yeah, watch your potty mouth, AP. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have one group created and innovated, another consider progress as dressing women in black bins because they're really closeted homosexuals. Yeah, and AP was kind of pointing this out, but yeah, there is this, I don't know, Christians and Jews kept making progress, and in Islam, the goal is always a pull back to live like a 7th century Arab. And it's a constant retrograde force.
Well, when did I say that?
No. You were talking about, you were saying something about Jews making progress or something like that. I was saying, yeah, that is built into the systems.
I never said that.
Yeah, you did. Thomas said, giant pair character. Oh, that's another issue. Okay, cool. We got to the end and I'm still on time. Phobus Holster says, oh, that's another one. We got the super stickers where we can't see the super stickers in our current systems.
That's beautiful.
Oh, here we have the proof. Jews killed 73 billion people in Gaza. Trust me. Yes.
Really?
That was probably the most tragic thing that has happened in this genocide.
Yesterday it was 72 billion. That's interesting.
And have you all seen or discussed the Mount Ebal curse tablet proving Israelis were in the area? Yeah, there's like a ton of stuff about the Israelis being in the area that's not really disputed. There's no rational, educated person who disputes that Israelis were there. That is a modern social media only type thing. So yeah, you don't really need to go into archaeology to prove that wrong. You just like quote some basic history and some basic sources and so on. All right, guys, we do have to wrap this up now. Went way longer than we needed to because I still have to get ready for a trip that I have to leave for in 3.5 hours.
Inshallah.
So, all right. Final words, AP. Are you persuaded that Saif Talk knows what he's talking about?
I think Saif Talk should get out of wherever he's living and just visit elementary school in a Western nation and start from there.
Yeah, Saif Talk, go back to kindergarten, start over, because the education system, wherever you're at, has clearly failed you. Start over, and actually pay attention this time. And I guess all we can do, if you're not going to listen to reason, is sing you a song.
Ain't gonna follow no child molester, sex offender, private pretender. Ain't gonna follow no child molester.
Islam's not for me. Islam's not for me.
Islam's not
for me.
Catch y'all next time.